Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Creative Differences Podcast, the podcast where some of us watch too much TV and some of us don't watch enough. I'm Dallas, and I watched 40 shows that came out in 2023, and that's only the ones I finished.
I'm Gabby, and oh my God. How?
Because me and Dallas know how to put up numbers.
Yeah, apparently. Holy shit.
We are
I was
Kobe
like,
and Shaq of TV watching.
I was like struggling to get my 10. Holy moly.
I'm Cassie, and I do other things. So, you know.
I'm Demi, and I probably put up just as much numbers, if not more, than Dallas did on
Probably.
how many shows I watched this
Holy
year.
smokes.
Bro, it's nothing, to be honest.
I do this. This is what I do.
Well,
I
I
do
have a
this.
child.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm like, how do you guys have time for this?
Yeah, you have a child.
This woman that's seen Bluey like 40 times in a row.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you tallied up all your
Hey, well,
watches.
let's be fair here. One of the shows on my list I've watched more times than any other show in my life.
Is
and it's
it
only been-
Willow?
Yeah. What?
That's fair. You watched that 40 times.
Yeah.
You're right. What does it, what I'm, we're off topic, but
We're
what
so-
what
we
is
haven't even
messing
introed.
with me right now is that you've watched Willow a million times and 40
other shows. Yeah. Welcome to another episode of the Creative Differences Podcast, your one-stop shop for movie reviews, Fancast Fridays, Setback Thursdays, and a number of other pop culture related items. Welcome to day 2 of a year in review. Today we will be talking about our favorite TV shows, if you couldn't guess, of 2023.
Yep. So many. There are so many. Normally I have to think of a reason why one person is not here, but everyone's here.
Woo.
Shout out to us.
Woo.
We love it. We love to see it.
Time is also a construct.
Yeah. So
Not so much today.
fortunately, today we get to just record things in order. But yeah, please like, share, subscribe, because I asked you to, and I'm tired of asking, and I won't have to ask if you just do it.
Woo.
As explained in yesterday's episode, and will be explained in the other ones, but maybe you didn't hear that, maybe you won't hear those. This is a recap. This is a list. So if someone has a show on their list, let's say at number 8, let's say Gabby has The Idol as her number 8 show of the year, and Demi has The Idol as her number 1. Demi will yell skip, and then we will wait until we get to
What
round
I
1.
Woo.
And then we will get to round 1 and talk about The Idol when Demi is talking about her favorite show of the year.
Dallas's examples get me every single time because usually they involve me, and usually they involve something that I either would never watch or I think is no.
I mean, it's usually
Like
the
The Idol.
easiest to find something that you would either never like that. Like it's just like, okay, what's a show
I
that I
have
know at least
strong
one person here?
Negative feelings
Hates.
towards.
It's like, oh, it's The Idol.
All right, yeah, that's it. So let's get started with our honorable mentions. Dallas, do you have any honorable mentions? I assume you do with 40 shows that you've watched this year.
No.
Holy smokes.
Of course I do.
Yeah, let's do it.
So honorable mentions, I have Kizazi Moto, Generation Fire, Poker Face, Gen V, The Other Black Girl, and This Fool. And then on the subset of that list is the shows that I haven't had a chance to finish yet or just aren't out. What If is not out at the time of this recording, and I'm 5 episodes into Blue Eye Samurai. I am certain that if I finished it, it would be on my list, but I haven't finished it, so I can't put it there because, you know, you never know what'll happen.
Fair point.
But it's fire, just so you know.
Gabby, do you have any honorable mentions? You said you were struggling to make this
No,
list.
I'm struggling to finish the list. And some of these shows I have not finished. So
Cassie, out of my courtesy, do you have any honorable mentions?
I do not, but I appreciate the ask.
I will always ask. And my honorable mentions are Kizazi Moto, Generation Fire,
Hey,
My Adventures with Superman, Goosebumps, Kaleidoscope, and Doctor Who.
Goosebumps was almost on my
I,
own list.
I want to talk about Goosebumps
I was
so
hoping it was on
bad.
your list.
Yeah, I know. So
It's just too much TV.
a lot of great TV,
Yes,
a lot of good TV
Yes.
this year.
because every show I mentioned,
Fire.
I love it.
Straight
Mhm.
fire. All right, that takes us to number 10. Dallas, what made the list?
So it's interesting. The show that knocked off Kizazi Moto just came in right before it is another Black animated excellence show, My Dad the Bounty Hunter, on Netflix.
Aw.
Created by Everett Downing Jr. and Patrick Harpin, starring Yvonne Orji, Laz Alonso, Priya Ferguson, and Jacoby Swain. The summary is follows 2 children as they discover that their father is the toughest bounty hunter in all of the galaxy when they accidentally hitch a ride into space. So this show is interesting because it had 2 seasons this year. I think it came out in February, and then season 2 came out, I want to say a few months ago at the time of this recording.
Mhm.
It's so freaking dope. It's just, the animation's great. Seeing this Black family in space, to me, you often talk about genres in which Black people aren't always the focus.
Yeah.
And as someone who likes sci-fi, I think you would love this. Like, it's just peak sci-fi, peak Black family. Laz Alonso is fantastic as his space name is Sabo Brock. I can't remember what I think his name is Terry. They have regular ass names because they're,
Mhm.
regular ass people.
Mm.
And then So season 1 is all about him and his bounty hunter explorations and his kids being badass kids, stowaway. And then season 2 follows the mom, played by Yvonne Orji. I gotta say, that season's even better because we find out. Okay, so here's the thing about the way we do the recaps. Sometimes there will be spoilers. I'm going to opt not to give you guys spoilers in case you decide to watch anything I recommend.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't tell you exactly why season 2 is so dope, but just know they go to a planet that's essentially like Wakanda.
Nice.
And there's this royalty system, and there is a dude played by Keith David who is essentially, Gabby, listen up, this is for you, an anthropomorphic tiger man.
Stop it. I hate you.
With like a Jerry curl.
It's not for me.
You and Cassie. It's just like you took this furry bait ass character and you gave him Keith David's voice and some
It's
like
gargoyles all over again.
and some like power line looking backup people he has. It's just fantastic. It's so great. It's so black. I love everything about it. The action is good. The comedy works. It's the perfect show for if you actually have a family you want to watch with, especially if they're black, because, you know, kids don't get to see people who look like them all the time.
It's true.
And I'm, you know, into my 30s. Still loved it like I'm a kid. Like, it's a great show for all ages. I would recommend it for everyone unless you hate fun. And that's my number 10.
Gabby, what's your number 10?
My number 10 is Starstruck.
I don't know that. I know what that is.
Starstruck is a romantic comedy show about a normal woman who falls in love and begins a romance with a famous actor. It is on HBO.
Wait, did you tell us about this before?
Yes, when it I'd seen seasons 1 and 2. Season 3 came out this year, so it's just kind of a continuation. So when we last left off the show, they had like broken up because like she was uncomfortable with how famous he was, and she was like, "Why are you even with me?" And she's like, "I can't hang." And they broke up, and then they spent like, you know, basically a season pining for each other.
Nice.
And they finally admitted that they were in love at the end of the season. And so we just pick up again at their love story. I don't want to give much away, but basically, you know, it's just exploring them and like the growing pains of dating a famous actor as a normal human person. And then they're kind of like
Actors
really
are normal
awkward.
people. They just have a lot of attention on them.
Really wild job, like a really wild,
Some of them are really wild people.
Yeah.
They just have a lot of attention on them.
Yeah, and like no privacy.
Depending on how successful you are.
Yeah. But he's like one of those like that level of success. Yeah, it's really great. I've talked about it before. It just continued like love story. It was just delightful and sweet and funny. And I watched it a while ago, so I'm forgetting things about it.
Yes, that's another thing about this episode is, you know, it spans the year. So there will be things we watched
So long ago.
a long time ago.
I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of the shows on my list actually are still from January.
Ooh.
Yeah, this show was from August, so not that long ago, but like, oof, I'm tired mom, man. Yeah, it was great, delightful, highly recommend. Starstruck.
Cassie, what's your number 10?
So it's like Gabby was saying she had a hard time coming up with this list. And last night, as I was trying and failing to fall asleep, I had a thought, and it worried me. And I thought, wow, this might actually happen. I really hope it doesn't. And then right now, I open my list, and there it is. So my number 10, whether I like it or not, is Black Mirror.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
I might only have watched like 11 shows because I had something else on here that I had to replace because I didn't actually finish it. I don't know. Black Mirror, it's a show. This is weird. I don't even really like Black Mirror. I've seen all of it.
You thought this season slept, though.
Some of it, yeah, but it's still the whole vibe of Black Mirror. Just I don't like. Some of the episodes were good. I really enjoyed the
Demon 79.
Yes, that was great. But I was also thinking there's one where like there's two people and they're like filming a short film that turns into something really different.
Oh, the documentary one.
Oh, Lock Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that one crept me out for a long time.
Man.
Yeah.
That was dark.
I was not happy about that one.
And dark in a way that Black Mirror is not, because, you know, Black Mirror is always super bleak.
Yes.
But sometimes it's like the implications of society. This was like, no, this is just super dark and horrifying. What a thing.
Yeah, like sometimes it'll do, well, if we took this technology and extrapolated it 5 years down the road, and it's like, okay, well, we're not there yet. Maybe we won't get there. Who knows? But this is just like, no, this could happen today.
Yeah, want to see a terrible story?
Oof.
Yeah, you want to see something awful?
But I will say, speaking of Lock Henry, shout out to Mahala.
Yeah.
She's been getting busy this year. She was in Lock Henry. She's in Dumb Money.
And she's in
Leave the World Behind.
Yeah.
I've seen all these things. I just keep seeing her. And I will say, it's a wonder what eyebrows can do for someone's attractiveness.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I saw her in Lock Henry. I was like, huh. And I saw her in the world behind. It was like that meme of that white lady, like, and then,
Oh, kombucha girl. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. I actually do like Black Mirror. It's not on my list because I
It's
watched
also
40 shows.
Not on my list either.
But I think we both like it more than Cassie, who had it on her list by default.
Yeah, exactly.
What's wild to me is you were able to count up the 40 shows. Like, I'm still not over it.
He has an app to actually count it up.
Yeah.
And honestly, I should try and count up how many shows I watched this year, but I think I would just forget which ones I've watched this year.
What app is this?
It's called
Serial.
Serialized.
Okay.
Serialized is like Letterboxd for TV.
shows.
Okay.
Which is why I don't use it, because I'm like, no, there's too many shows in my life that I've watched. I can't go back.
To be honest, I only do it because of this. I don't want to get to the end of the year and try to go from memory of what I watched.
And that, I should have done that.
Yeah. So when I watch a movie or a show, I write it down. And then wherever it's placed, like, oh, I like it more than this show and less than this one. So I just put it right there. And then at the end, I have a list of all the things I watched in order of how much I like them.
just keep it up as I go. And once we hit 20, you're no longer on this list. So
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I was going to mention, I really like the paparazzi episode.
Yeah, I like it. I
You
think
know
mostly
what,
'cause of Zazie.
actually? Yeah.
Mhm.
That one, it was fine, and then it got real good for me.
Well, you said, I think, that your order of how much you like them was like the reverse order of the release, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I really liked the first episode, though.
Salma Hayek. Jonas
Yeah,
Waffle.
because that actually ended up becoming almost too real once the actor strike hit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, legitimately started fighting over that a few months after that.
Yeah. Black Mirror continues to predict.
I think it's funny because the guy who created the show, I think his name was Charlie Brooker, he actually used ChatGPT to try and write a Black Mirror script, and he was like, it was absolute garbage.
Like, we're not doing this over here. But yeah, shout out to Black Mirror. I actually like it.
I love it.
And Cassie, let us talk about it.
Yeah. All right, that takes us to my number 10, which is Schmigadoon.
Hey.
Oh,
Love me some Schmigadoon.
Dune.
Created by Ken Dario and Cinco Paul, starring Keegan-Michael Key, Cecily Strong, Dove Cameron, Kristen Chenoweth, Alan Cumming, Aaron Tveit, Jaime Camille, Anne Harada, Jane Krakowski, and Ariana DeBose, although she was barely in this season. And the IMDb summary is: a couple on a backpacking trip discovers a magical town in which everyone acts like they're in a classic musical. That was season 1. Season 2, they do their absolute best to return to Schmigadoon and end up in Schmicago.
Ooh.
And it was wonderful. If I thought I loved the show before, I love it even more after that season. Titus Burgess was an excellent addition to this season. And I loved
They mixed in, I think there's Sweeney Todd in there too.
Sweeney Todd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I loved what they did with this season, because last season was all like really old type of musicals like Brigadoon and stuff like that. Very bright and cheery musicals. And then Chicago is like Chicago, Sweeney Todd, Hair is in there, and just like all sorts of like darker genre of musical theater.
Right.
And it's so much fun.
Nice.
It's so great. So last time in season 1, it was Keegan-Michael Key and Cecily Strong have to like fall back in love with each other in order to leave this town. This season, it's more like they don't like this town at all.
Oh,
Like, we have got to get out of here. But they can't until I think everybody has a happy ending, which is hard to do with all these dark musicals.
Yeah.
But it's really good. The musical numbers are outstanding. They always are. Everybody is on 100 every single time. The ensemble, the leading cast, getting to see Dove Cameron do Chicago-esque musical. Mwah. Fantastic. Love it for
Nice.
me.
Very nice.
And then also there is a number that Ariana DeBose, Dove Cameron, and Cecily Strong do in episode 2. And I remember watching it and going, Dove Cameron and Ariana DeBose could have and probably should have been our Elphaba and Glinda for Wicked, because this is proof right here of how good they would have been together.
Right.
It was so good of a number. But yeah, the entire show, it's so much fun. If you love musicals, this is definitely a show for you. It's on Apple TV Plus. Every season is like 10 episodes or something like that. It's not for, it actually might be shorter than that. It might be like 8 or 6 or something like that. They're not particularly long seasons. Every episode is like, yeah, it might be 8. Every episode is like a half hour. But yeah, if you like musicals, go for it. If you don't like musicals, I still kind of recommend it, because they still make jokes about it even from the perspective of somebody who doesn't like musicals.
Okay.
Like, they're very meta.
Keegan-Michael Key's character.
Yeah, his character doesn't like musicals. So they're very like meta on their commentary about musicals. They talk about them in ways that a lover of musicals would, but also in a way that people who don't love musicals would.
Right.
They're willing to make fun of themselves, and it's fantastic. I love it. But yeah, that's my number 10, Schmigadoon. That takes us to number 9.
Number 9. My number 9 is from HBO and on Max, The Last of Us.
Oh my gosh, that
Skip.
was this year. Oh,
I figured
even
somebody
Skip.
was going to skip.
Skip.
I forgot all about that show.
Oof.
Was this year?
Yep.
Like early this year.
Dude, this,
I remember watching
Well,
this and coming
remember
home
I
to
said
Last of Us.
I've got a bunch of stuff
some
from earlier
Yeah.
this year too.
Held on.
also, this year felt, I mean, probably because time has slowed as a parent, but time, like it felt very, very long. I was like, wait a minute, that came out earlier this year. Like I was still watching episodes of that show this year. That's wild.
Yeah, I have so many TV
So-
shows on here that I'm like, I was watching that in January or February.
Yep.
All right, Gabby, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is The Witcher.
Skip.
All
Yeah, I
right, we are
figured.
skipping right through round 9.
Cassie, what's your number 9?
Goddamn. My number 9 is Swarm.
Ooh,
That's not on my list.
interesting.
Skip it?
I thought about that
Okay.
today.
Are good.
Nice. Yeah, Swarm is one of those shows that I think is really good, and I will never watch it again.
Same.
But like, it's just the examination of like what happens when you are too much a fan of somebody, and like how that devotion can very easily become dangerous
Yeah.
is real good.
Yeah.
Like also just the fact that how much they sort of, I don't even know if it's parody, but sort of parody Beyonce is
They
wonderful.
reference her a lot. I don't know if I would say parody so much as a reference.
Well, I guess it's
Yeah.
not her specifically. I don't know.
Her fan base is just such a good example of like
Yeah.
how hardcore a fan
Yeah.
base can be.
And I think they are parodying her fans too a bit, but most of the Beyonce direct stuff is just a reference. Like, this thing happened to Beyonce. This thing happened to Nyjah. Somebody bit Beyonce. Somebody bit Nyjah.
Which is why I mentioned Nyjah in my Beyonce review. It was great.
Wild.
But Swarm is interesting because
It's a great show.
I found out it was being made and I was super hyped and I wanted to love it and I did not. But like you, Cassie, I do think it's a very good show that I will just not watch again. And there was something about it that just wasn't connecting with me. But even with that being the case, some of those episodes, the one that they did is basically a mockumentary,
Oh my gosh.
was fantastic. That felt like an episode of Atlanta crossed into Swarm.
Billie Eilish, I never would have guessed that she is such a
She's
great actress.
amazing.
So good.
I almost had her on my actors list.
She's
and I
so
was just
good.
like, I have people on here that did entire seasons of shows and series,
Oh,
da 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 da. I
yeah.
was like,
The episode with the like
the cult
people
one.
in the house.
she's the cult
I
leader.
didn't want to say cult, but yeah.
Yeah, the cult.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Billie Eilish cult.
Fantastic.
She was amazing. Oh, she can really, really do this.
Also, the Paris Jackson making a Halsey joke is like the highlight. It's one of the highlights of the year.
The stage name was Halsey.
I was talking about Swarm recently because of that joke.
And that's the thing about, is it Janine Abrams who made it with Donald Glover?
Yes.
Like the way that they write comedy, even coming from such a dark place. Like after Dre does what she does, at the end, she just takes out her phone. Siri, who is Halsey? That's the perfect button for that joke.
Oh my God.
It's such a good off-putting show that I don't think I'm ever going to watch again. But super well made, and Dominique Fishback is
So good.
amazing.
Incredible.
Stay tuned. Yeah, stay tuned for our actors list so I can talk more about her.
Any
Great
more on
show.
that, Cassie?
I mean, I guess I would recommend it if you want something that sort of explores what it means to be like obsessed with a celebrity, but it's also real dark, so just be aware of that.
So dark.
Also sent the internet into a frenzy with
Oh, yeah.
Chloe Bailey's back shots in the first
Oh
episode.
my God. I forgot
You are
all about that.
dumb.
Twitter went nuts.
Insane.
So mad at people being mean to Chloe Bailey.
I mean, most of what I saw on Twitter wasn't people being mean about it.
They were
It
being
was people being
thirsty.
thirsty about it.
Oh, okay, okay.
Wild time on Twitter.
I think I'm going to get skipped. My number 9 is Shrinking.
You are going
You
to
are
get
getting
skipped.
skipped. Yeah.
Figured as much. That takes us to number 8, Dallas.
Number 8. My number 8 was my number 4 last year.
Ooh.
Mm.
From FXX and Hulu. It's Archer, the last season.
The
of
last
Archer.
one?
Yeah, season 14.
Oh my
can believe
God. Ugh.
Animation be going through seasons like crazy, though, so don't.
Yeah, like The Simpsons is still running.
Forever. So yeah, created by Adam Reed, even though he hasn't been as involved with the show for the last several seasons. Starring H. John Benjamin, Aisha Tyler, Judy Greer, Chris Parnell, Amber Nash, Lucky Yates, and this season, Natalie Dew.
Ooh.
Summary is covert black ops and espionage take a backseat to zany personalities and relationships between secret agents and drones. So this one comes with a little bit of a caveat asterisk. The season's not completely over yet. They made an 8-episode season like they always do, and then the finale came out, and we were all thinking, that doesn't feel like a series finale.
Yeah.
And then like the next day they announced it's not. We have a 3-part finale episode dropping in December. That happens tonight, so I have not seen it.
Wow.
But I couldn't leave Archer off my list because
It's Archer.
it's so good. Like, this is, and I say this every time I talk about Archer, one of the the most consistently funny shows to me. Like, any show that I think I can watch 14 seasons of and not ever get tired of it. It's so good. It is, like the way I described this fool, like, just stupidity in the most clever way, because the characters are stupid. But Aisha Tyler is killing it this season. Lana becomes the boss because rest in peace to the late great Jessica Walter. Her character's not there anymore. They bring in a new character named Zara, who was played by Natalie Dew, and she's essentially the foil to Archer. Gabby, I think you would love her. She's like Archer in that she's super competent, she's a sarcastic, she's a smartass, and she's a dick. And she kind of challenges, it's like what The Rock say, the hierarchy of the DC universe about to change?
The hierarchy of power.
The hierarchy of power of the Archer agency is about to change because Zara's here, and she's just as good as Archer. And she immediately can't stand him. There's an episode called 30 for 30 where they compete to kill, like, to knock out the most people. I think they determine killing them would be too much. So they're like, we're going to knock out the most opponents in this episode. And they're so petty and they're so stupid. And of course, they focus more on that than the actual mission. Barry is back. For those who watch the show, Barry is the cyborg who just keeps coming back in different and creative ways. Now I think he is a refrigerator, and they just put his like AI into the fridge.
Who's AI?
Barry, the blonde dude. Who, like, Archer ruined his life, and now he's a cyborg.
They put him into a fridge this time.
We get an episode called Keys Open Doors, which is about cocaine. And
Keys of cocaine.
For people who watch the show, if you like Coked Up Pam a few seasons ago, Coked Up Lana, Aisha Tyler deserves an Emmy for that performance.
Oh my God. Coked Up Lana? What about their kid?
AJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still running around. It's funny, the show's been going on for so long that she's like
12?
Talking and walking around. Like, not a baby. She's a child.
That's weird.
Yeah. It's weird seeing this kid grow up. Amazing show. Everything I love about Archer is consistent through these. I haven't seen the finale, like I said. One thing I want to end it with is kind of like all spy media, or even just like the John Wick, Jason Bourne, James Bond. Like, you see all the stuff they go through physically, and you think, how are you alive? And there's an episode where they have to go to a plastic surgeon, and Archer is talking to the surgeon because they're going undercover. And she's like, sir, I can't operate on you. And he's like, why? Because I'm already too perfect? And she was like, I think if I put you under anesthetic, you'll never wake up. Like, she's like looking at his medical history like, sir, if you sneeze wrong, your heart might stop. I love it so much. It's such a good show. It's written so well. If I talk about it all day, I'll just end up repeating myself. It's written so well over and over again. So that's pretty much where I can end it. But shout out to Archer. 14 seasons of greatness, hopefully, depending on that finale that I haven't watched yet. And shout out to Aisha Tyler. I love her, and I always will.
She's very dope.
She is.
See.
Gabby, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is Shadow and Bone.
Forgot that was this year, too.
Oh my God, that was this year.
It's going to be a lot of that.
Dude, that was one of my saving graces. I was like, what have I watched?
She's like,
it was
what?
like, it came out this year. Yes.
She's like, what have I watched? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I did watch that.
Oh, man.
Is that on? It's not on anybody else's list?
No.
Yo,
me and Cassie forgot it happened.
Dude, season 2. Let's talk about also RIP. The last season, this is hella dumb.
And
it was about to get good.
Goodbye to my fantasy shows.
My favorite storyline in that universe at the end of the season, and now it's never going to happen, and I just am sad.
I am less sad too. Ugh. Anyway, it was a really good season. We saw some people rise to power. We saw some people die. We met some new characters.
My boy Louis Tan.
Yeah, and Sturm. What's his name? Sturmhaunt.
Ooh,
I can't remember.
that name is fighting you.
Did they say who he actually is in this season?
They did. They told us who he was.
I was hoping they would get
I think
to that
they skipped
before
like
the
2
show died.
books or something. Yeah, they skipped like 2 books.
It comes out, I think, in the book he's in.
Oh, okay.
He can't hide it for very long. He's very outlandish.
Yeah, and then they pretend to be like engaged. It's great. It's so good.
Oh, yeah.
They kill off all the mystical creatures.
I just remembered what happens in that season, and I just got so sad.
Yeah.
There was one episode where I had predicted what the plot twist was going to be, and I was like, I'm happy I was right, but I'm also really sad that this is happening.
Aww. Yeah, I'm just
so sad.
It's delightful, and I'm really sad it's over because
and it was going to be
it was so good.
And they,
for the Six of Crows.
Yeah, Six of Crows.
Yeah, and like
Ugh.
a few weeks ago, the guy who show ran Shadow and Bone released like a sizzle reel of what would have started that show off, and they were really going deep into the story and all of that, and it's like the best. And
I'm sad. Also, because my favorite love story, unresolved. Tragic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Mad sad.
my fantasy shows are having a rough time.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I love how this has evolved into disappointed, but I am disappointed that it's
less of a TV show.
But
Yeah.
it's disappointment because we liked the show so much.
yeah, and it's so
We
good.
had the chance
Even though,
to watch Nina take out like an entire army, and we're never going to see it. But
I
she
know.
does that, and it's awesome.
I wanted
And
to
there's
see
just so much we're never going to see.
I wanted to see what they were gonna do with Tolia and Inez. They like looked like they were flirting at the end of that season, and I was like, "Oh, where are we going with this?" Because I have a ship for her, obviously, but I just wanted to see what they were going to do with it.
Ugh.
Just wanted to see.
I'm
Netflix, bring it
super
back,
sad.
please.
Super sad.
Save Shadow and Bone.
Yeah, save Shadow and Bone.
Join. Hey,
Or
there's
somebody else.
There's
Get it.
for
Disney.
Nah, not Disney. Don't be trusting Disney with that. There's for sure a campaign on Twitter for
Oh, good.
sure
Yeah,
to
there
save
is.
Shadow and Bone.
I really hope they bring it back because it's so good. Ugh. I even liked Ben Barnes as another like sexy villain.
He does it very well.
He's so good at it.
So good.
Ugh, love it. I'm gonna let it go since our time's up. But
Yeah, we're trying to keep to a time limit
Yeah.
this time around, guys. Cassie, what's your number 8?
My number 8, which might get skipped. I don't know where you're going with this, or someone else's, is The Last of Us.
I'm at
Okay.
number.
Cricket.
Anybody else have it higher?
No, you would skip it then.
Yeah, you
Oh,
We're on
sorry.
8.
Skip.
we're at 8. Okay, so you were
What?
just skipped, yes.
You're skipped.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. My number 8 is My Hero Academia, which is
Hey.
created by Koei Horikoshi, starring Daiki Yamashita, Nobuhiko Ukumato, Ayane Sakura, Kaido Ishikawa, Kenta Miyake, and so many other people because there are so many characters on the show. The IMDb summary is a superhero admiring boy without any powers enrolls in a prestigious hero academy and learns what it really means to be a hero. That is a very general
Yay.
take overall
Well,
of what the show is
that's
about.
like the first few episodes, yeah. Now we're
I
in
mean,
season,
yeah.
what, 6?
Just finished. It finished earlier this year at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in the learns what it means to be a hero. He's in that portion of the summary.
Not fair.
My Hero Academia is potentially my favorite superhero anything outside of the first season of Heroes.
Honestly,
Okay.
it's so good. And it upsets me that you have seen more of it than I have.
Yeah,
And
go
you
back to
get caught up.
watching it.
And that means a lot coming from you, considering how much superhero stuff you engaged with.
I
Like,
watch so much.
You watch.
Listen, my man.
Because
My
if
Hero.
Cassie says that,
Mm.
Cassie like doesn't really care about the capes
Yeah.
and all that.
I watch almost everything superhero
Right.
related.
So you've seen all of it. So if it's ranking that high
Yeah.
against everything.
That
Yeah.
means it's really good.
Yeah.
What I love, not only is it good storytelling, but for me, it is the most optimistic and ideal version of what superheroism is and what it means to be a superhero.
Mhm.
So the opposite of the boy.
Yes, it is
And they also
the
really
reverse.
talk about that optimism and why it matters to
Yes.
both the heroes and the people they're saving.
Yes. And like that's the spectrum for me. The spectrum is on one end of the spectrum, there is My Hero Academia, and on the other side, there's the boys' universe.
Right.
And then everything else falls in between somewhere. This recent season was super good because there was always 2 arcs for the season. The first arc was like a full out superheroes versus supervillain war. And that had some really, really bad consequences on society and on the way that these superheroes are viewed and the way that these people now have to live their lives. And so the second arc of the series is actually Deku's dark arc,
Okay.
which is crazy because Deku is the most optimistic boy in the universe.
He doesn't seem like he'd have a dark arc.
That's my baby boy.
Edgy for having season.
He gets, yes, but like, the funny thing about Deku being edgy is that he's edgy in like I have to save the world,
Right.
but I have to do it
yeah,
alone.
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's dark in a way that makes sense for Deku. And I was so mad
absolutely,
because I bought a sticker that was dark like his dark look because his superhero suit gets all torn up and ragged and stuff because he's
Oh,
not resting, he's not
yes.
eating.
Damn.
He's just like, I have to save people and I can't be around people because I have to keep people protected.
Oh damn! What a
And just
mess.
like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
such a, and like I think the quote that was on the sticker was because I think it's from the show, it's he doesn't even look like a hero.
Oh.
I wanted it so bad on the cup that I carry around with me everywhere. and it wouldn't fit properly.
Oh.
So then I had to give it to my younger brother because it fit on his. This season was so good. I love a good dark arc, and I love it in the case of Deku because even on the most wholesome show in the world, you can still have the most wholesome dark arc that you could possibly have, and it still works perfectly. It's still dark and not like, I guess you could say it's a little edgy, but like it's all about learning about how you can't do it alone and how you have to carry it with other people. And just, My Hero Academia really is some of the best superhero anything that you will ever watch. It's so good. So that is my number 8.
I don't even know if he's still around, but shout out to that show for having one of the most terrifying looking villains I have ever seen.
Which one?
Shigaraki Tomura, the guy with the hands.
Oh, Shigaraki has such a huge, he's a big deal. He's a big deal this past season. His power level, his glow up. Oh no, it was crazy.
Oh, I'm excited.
He's still the main villain of the show.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, Shigaraki is not playing around with us no more. The boy got ripped too. They be getting shredded on that show.
Quick question that's coming to nowhere and be a little weird. Is the girl who talks about sucking all the time still around?
Which one is that one?
She like drinks blood or something, and she just talks about sucking all the time.
Yeah, she was on this past season as well.
Incredible. Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah, you need to go back to watching it. It's great. It's fantastic. Anyway, number 7. Dallas, what's your number 7?
Number 7. My number 7 is my number 15 last year, which was an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Winning Time on HBO and Max. It is Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. For those who like to say full title.
I was like, sometimes. What show is that? Why does it sound familiar?
Yep, it's the Lakers one.
Got it.
Created by Max Borenstein and Jim Hecht, starring John C. Reilly, Jason Clarke, Jason Segel, Gabby Hoffman, Rob Morgan, and Adrian Brody. The summary is the professional and personal lives of the 1980s Los Angeles Lakers, one of sports' most revered and dominant dynasties, a team that defined an era both on and off the court. Oh my God, I love this show so much. And they canceled it, and I hate them for it because...
So many canceled shows.
It's just... The Lakers Dynasty, you could make that show run forever. You could do the 80s. You could do the Kobe and Shaq era.
Not like you have to get people to know what it is.
Right.
You don't have to tell people this is a show about the Lakers. It's the Lakers.
And everyone who watched it loved it. It's freaking amazing. And John C. Reilly is giving the performance of a lifetime playing Jerry Buss. I knew he could act, but man, like he is doing his thing. The show is so good. Quincy Isaiah, who plays Magic Johnson, also fantastic. It's like what you get out of a TV drama and what you get out of a sports documentary all at once. Like for the people who all watched The Last Dance during COVID because we couldn't leave our house. Like this was the next step for that. Obviously, it's more dramatized because it's not a documentary, but they do it in a way that feels like the art of it is just great. Like they'll do things that really happen, and then on the screen there'll be a little notation. They'll be like, "Yes, this really happened." Like we get a Larry Bird origin episode, and for those who don't know, Larry Bird is the guy who played for the Celtics. Country ass white boy. Laker fans hate him.
Used to have his jersey, fun fact, like his old school white and blue Laker jersey.
Oh.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Jerry West? Larry Bird was on the Celtics.
He was not on the Lakers?
Larry Bird, no.
Larry Bird. I think it is Jerry West. Wow, the double R-Y right there. Oh, boy. Yeah.
Jerry West also played, I think he's played by Jason Clarke. Also fantastic because Jason Clarke, I think, is Australian. And
yes, he is.
You can't hear a bit of that.
Typically forget Jason Clarke is not from America.
Right. And Larry Bird he's something else. He's just this country ass white boy. He plays for the Celtics, which is like the evil empire of the show. And there's an episode where he's in, I can't remember what state he's from, Indiana or some Midwestern town. And the local college is like trying to recruit him because he's better than everybody. And he shows up to the practice of this college basketball team. He shows up in his jeans with a basketball and just tells the coach, like, all right, keep score, like keep count. And he just starts balling everybody up. And every time he makes a shot, he counts. And then he's running before he's like 18, 20, 23. And then on the screen, there's a little notation that says, yes, he actually played in jeans. And it's just, it's such a well-made show. I recommend it.
He just showed up in jeans?
He just showed up in jeans and balled everybody up. And then left.
That's like a power move.
It really is. But yeah, fantastic show. If you're a Lakers fan, if you're not, I don't even watch basketball.
Why was he so good at basketball? From like Illinois?
Who knows? Who knows why this white boy was different like that? Great show. HBO. Don't do this. Why? Bring it back, please. Please don't do this to me.
Did they cancel?
Man,
They did.
we're gonna have several pleas for shows to just not be removed and canceled or whatever.
But
Yeah.
that's Winning Time. I recommend it if you're into docuseries, docudramas, biopics,
Or the Lakers.
or basketball, or the Lakers. Jason Segel, John C. Reilly. Fantastic show. That's my number 7.
Gabby, number
So
7.
okay, so my number 7 is The Last of Us.
Nice.
Off the strength of 2 episodes that I saw.
Did you only see 2 episodes?
Actually, I think I saw.
I think she saw most of the show, didn't you?
No, I actually maybe it was more like
incredible.
4 episodes.
She saw half the show.
It was more like 4 episodes, but off the strength of 2. So
I'm in love.
you came over.
I was over for the Storm Reed episode.
Yeah, and that was this year.
Yeah, that was. it
So
was
that's how
super
I knew.
good.
Is it on your list or no?
That
No,
was the
it's-
Left Behind one, right? Yeah, that was the Left Behind
Yeah.
one.
I knew it was this year because it was at the upstairs apartment.
Yeah, we were hanging out. You were doing my hair.
Yeah.
Gabby, I love you so much. Like, I took a show off my list right before we started because I didn't watch the last couple episodes, but you were like, nah, I saw 4 episodes. I'm good, let's go. And I love
Because
that for you.
well, when the show was coming out, first of all, I was very hormonal. I had just had a baby.
It was
so
rough.
there was no way that I could have handled a lot of the stuff that was going on.
Fair.
What was the other episode?
The other episode came out last year, but it was
Yeah, that still counts though.
yeah, because it's the season, right?
It's the season.
Frank and Bill
Oh,
you
of
saw
course.
the best
Yeah.
ruined my life, huh?
You saw the best episodes. You're good.
Yes, I saw the 2 best episodes, and I was like, yes, this goes on my list. This is clearly like an amazing show.
I'm assuming you did not see the episode with Ashley Johnson playing Ellie's mom.
I didn't
You
see the
wouldn't have
finale.
survived it. You wouldn't have made it. It
No.
would have been
That
too much
one-
for you.
No.
Not for you.
Okay, I'm actually really happy you didn't see that
Yeah,
because
there's a
boy.
reason I still haven't seen House of Dragon, and it's the first episode. The first episode.
You know what? Just skip that part. Yeah, no, shout out to Ashley Johnson because I love Ashley Johnson. She's great.
she's great
And I loved her little cameo on the
She
show.
played Emmy.
It's such a good show. And it's funny because the episode with, what are those black boys' names?
Oh,
Sam? No.
no, I think Sam is
what
one
is
of
her
them.
name?
I think Sam's the kid.
Yeah, that's one of the episodes I couldn't see. My partner
can't
specifically
remember
forbade
his
me from
brother's
watching
name.
that episode.
I-
He was like,
Yeah.
don't.
The name
There's
Full
something
disclosure,
in
I
it.
didn't play the game.
Jacob?
I didn't either.
don't remember.
But my point being, that's my best episodes. Everybody talked about like the Nick Offerman episode with Bill. And then when we got a couple episodes later with those 2, I was like, oh, this is the episode that I've been waiting for to be like, yeah,
Henry and Sam.
Henry and Sam. Thank you.
For me, I didn't play the game, but I watched a playthrough. I watched somebody else play like the entire story. So I kind of already knew everything that was going to happen. So the
Same.
best episode for me is actually the Storm Reed episode because it was the only part of the game that I had never seen. So it felt brand new to me.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
Last of
man,
Us
like,
God.
it's just so good.
As the video game girly, I actually haven't played Last of Us. I've watched people play it, and it's like, oh god, even had we done this like 2 weeks ago, it would have been different. But it's like the more time goes on, the less I like Last of Us as a concept and as a series, and for a lot of reasons actually. But anyway, the show is good. I think it could have used more zombies, to be honest.
A lot of people
But-
might agree with you.
You know, it is what it is. I mean, I personally will not watch season 2. I'm very excited to watch people watch season 2 and get big mad.
I'm
I'm gonna get
absolutely.
so mad.
I'm actually
so
really
mad.
excited to watch
really
season 2
angry.
just for all the people angry.
Let me separate
You're
that
gonna
out.
be so
I'm
mad.
excited for people to get mad for the right reasons. I'm not excited for like misogyny, which is going to happen.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
It's probably already happening. They already gave Laura Bailey a cameo though, but I would love if Laura Bailey got another cameo in season 2 because she played
Somebody else
Abby.
or whatever. Like, who cares?
I think she has a mask on for like the entirety of.
Oh, you can make
no,
that
she might
work.
not. Yeah, I'm like, just give Laura Bailey another cameo because shout out to her, she's phenomenal.
I do love the way that they used the cast to include a lot of the video game actors. Like
Mhm.
Troy Baker's in there.
Yeah.
Laura Bailey, like you said, Ashley Johnson. And I watched this a long time ago. What is the black woman's name? Marlene?
Marlene?
I think it's Marlene.
Firefly?
Isn't she the one who's just played by the
Yes.
actress from the game?
Yes, she
yeah,
is.
like they just brought
Yeah.
her over from the game.
Marlene.
And I love that. And it's clear that they have such a respect for the source material because one of the dudes who made it made the show.
Yeah.
We didn't say this, but Craig Mason and Neil Druckmann made the show.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you hear them, I was listening to a podcast about it, and you hear them talk to each other about certain things they did, like Henry or Sam.
Sam's the kid.
Henry's the older one, Sam's the younger one.
Sam's the younger one.
Yeah.
Is he deaf in the game? Because there was
Not
something
100%
about
sure.
Sam.
Maybe
that-
not. I don't know.
I don't remember.
It was the fact that he was deaf. I might be wrong. I'm not sure. But it was that and something. And then Druckmann was like, I wish I would have thought about that when I made the game. But man, that episode, the way that when it ends, gunshot, the way that Bella Ramsey screams,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like, it's not just like a horror movie Alfred Hitchcock scream. It's like a legitimate, it like escapes her.
It's an anguished
Yeah,
cry.
and that just noise. I was like, oh, Bella Ramsey's going on my actors list. But of course, that was months ago. Things have happened. You'll see tomorrow if she's on there or not. But that I was like, oh, she's got to go on the list. And then Pedro Pascal's monologue about like, I'm failing in my sleep when he's talking to his brother. I was like, you're on the list too, Pedro. Just,
Yeah.
such a good show.
It's a very good show.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cassie, what's your number 7?
Hello, hello. My number 7 is The Other Black Girl.
What? I didn't know you watched that.
Yeah, my sister watched it, and when I was there for Thanksgiving, she was like, yo, you gotta watch it. And I was like, all right. So it did.
Time out. Sam is not deaf in the game. Just looked it up.
Okay.
So that
right.
was the
Okay,
thing
cool.
that they were talking
So
about.
that was awesome.
Cassie, I'm so happy. I'm so happy you
Yeah.
watched this show because I
Yeah.
wanted it to be on my list and it wasn't.
Well, here you are. It's really
Yes.
good. I personally am not terribly fond of how the plot shook out in terms of like what was, the ultimate twist of like, and this is what's really happening. Like I thought the build up to what was happening
okay.
was more interesting
Gotcha.
than what was actually happening.
Fair.
That said, that build up was so good. And
It's so
I gotta
good.
edit my actors list because I had to put. I can't remember her name. I just know she played Josie in Riverdale. What
Who
is
is Josie?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name off the top of my head either.
Ashley something? I can't
Who is she
remember her
in
name.
The Other Black Girl? Oh, Ashley Murray?
Yes,
Yes, Hazel. Yeah,
incredible.
she's really good. She's
So
really good.
I mean, everybody in that show is good, but like she's just killing it every time she's on screen.
I'm so
And it's
glad
just
you watched
like-
this.
Oh my god, what it's like. There are shows that do like examinations of what it's like to be, black in a place where you're surrounded mostly by not black people, and it's like, ooh, this one from the jump of like, oh my god, Nella, you're black, you should talk to Hazel. Like, it just keeps going. The white people are garbage, and it's delightful. Like,
It's so good.
I also would like to formally request that we stop making city people with my old name because that was rough.
Oh, was that the writer dude?
The author? Yeah.
Yeah. Brian
Oh my God.
Baumgartner from The Office. He plays an author named Colin. So on my app, it's kind of like Letterboxd. So I like have reviews for the episodes. And my review for episode 2 is just Colin needs his ass beat because that dude is the worst. But
Oh my
I
God.
love Nella. I love her so much.
Yeah.
Sinclair Daniel. I watched the show like right after she was in Insidious, and that's where I saw her for the first time.
Wow,
So she's
okay.
all over this year, and I love her. I love the beef between those two white women in the office who just
Mhm.
couldn't stand each other.
Ooh, also,
Malika?
what is-
Great.
Malika, that's her name. Oh my God.
Malika was the absolute best. And when she would go on her
There's a-
little side quest with Owen,
Oh my
Fantastic.
God. The one in the barber shop, I was dying.
it was good cringe because it was
Yeah.
like, how are you this bad at interrogations? But when she was talking to Nella, or no, she was talking to Owen later, and he was like, what if it's really not that deep? And she was like, your inability to see that I'm always right really concerns me. Get it together. Malika's amazing. I love her so much. Everything about it. It's so good. It's so black. To me, I think you would like it too. It's really not scary. And that's why I don't really use it as an allegation against
Yeah.
Cassie. Because the show is marketed as kind of a horror show.
Mm-hmm.
It has
It's-
creepy moments, but
Yeah. It's like a workplace
feel like
comedy with some
intent is to scare
thriller. Yeah. It's like Dear White People, but in an office.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
Things
there's
happen
not
that are
really much
creepy.
in it that's scary.
But yeah.
It's mostly
I-
just like the vibe. It's fun.
Mhm.
It's so fun.
Funny thing, like the last scene of this show is the reason I listened to Janelle Monáe's new album, because the song
right,
Float
there's
is
a float
playing
in
when Nella walks in. And I was like, this
Yeah,
song
yeah.
is dope.
That album, dang.
And I hate myself for how much more attracted I was to Nella in the last scene.
Really?
Because like, so it's not like
you
she
should
went
hate
full.
yourself for that.
Shut up. It's
just
not like
saying.
she went full Eurocentric beauty standards in the scene, but she wears her hair in like a more, like she wears it out in natural for most of the season. And I decided in Insidious that I was attracted to Sinclair Daniel. So let's get that out of the way now. And then the way she comes in though in the last scene, it's not just like, oh yeah, you did something with your hair.
Mhm.
It's like the Janelle Monáe confidence, I float in when I walk, nigga. Like all of that.
Mhm.
So it's just a thing. But I was like, oh no, I've been conditioned.
Oh no.
Oh no.
But I will say this. Since I saw Sinclair in Insidious, I was like, this woman has one of the best smiles I've seen in any actress.
Yeah.
Like, she is just a delightful person, and I want to see her in more stuff. More on her in tomorrow's episode when we talk about our favorite actors. But yeah, I'm so glad you watched it. Demi, you need to watch it. Gabby, you need to watch it.
Put more on my plate. Dang, man. It's a full plate already.
What?
We'll see if we
10
get there.
episodes?
Yeah, no, not
Under
long.
half an hour.
Oh, okay. That's a little bit doable.
Easy work. It's on Hulu.
Okay. And it's not scary.
It's creepy.
It has
It's
scary
creepy.
moments,
It's
but I would say
creepy.
the show is not scary.
I actually wanted it to be scarier because I thought it was going to be a
I
horror
thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that's why I was like, not for me.
Yeah, they market it as
I
a
was
lot
like,
scarier than it
this
is.
show is not for me.
It's a lot funnier than it is scary.
Okay.
I guess I would say it can be scary depending on how you feel about white people.
Good point. It's scary the way that Get Out is scary. Like, it's scary because white people are scary. That's a good place to stop.
Always funny.
All right, y'all. My number 7 is The Witcher.
Hey.
Yeah, created by Lauren Schmidt-Hissrich and starring Henry Cavill for one last time, Anya Chalotra, Freya Allen, and Joey Beatty. The IMDb summary is Geralt of Rivia, a solitary monster hunter, struggles to find his place in a world where people often prove more wicked than beasts. Yep. All right. A lot of people give this season a lot of slack. I personally loved it, and I think I loved it because of all the character dynamics that were going on. I loved finally getting to see Geralt and Yennefer and Ciri interact in such a family way, in such a familial way.
Yep, I agree.
And it was beautiful every single time I saw them on screen together. But even when there was only 2 of them together, or anytime they would get separated, just that aspect of I will always find you.
Yeah.
Destiny will always bring us together. We are fated to be this unit.
Oh.
Made me so happy all season. My favorite episode was probably episode 5.
Yep. That one's great.
I still, all is not as it seems. A great musical cue. Love it. I love that episode. I love playing with time and the way that we learn information throughout the night in that episode.
Yep. Geralt
and Yennefer just being absolute couple goals the entire episode. God, I love them so much.
It was really cute.
Yeah. I've been such a big Geralt and Yennefer shipper since season 1. That episode was everything I could ever want as a Geralt and Yennefer
They
shipper.
were pillow talk and also fun.
Bathtub.
Exactly.
Hanging out on the floor for no reason.
Yep.
But also, let me start a fight in the middle of a party for you. Her telling him to stop eating like an animal or something before the party even starts. It's phenomenal. Everything.
It's just intimacies. They now know this about each other.
Yeah, it's so good. And Henry Cavill and Anya Chalotra just are so fantastic in those 2 parts. And then the chemistry as well between Anya Chalotra and Freya Allen is insane, because if you watch them in interviews, they're very sisterly. Yeah. But if you watch them on this show, the mother-daughter just pops out. It's so crazy how good Anya Chalotra is at playing a character who is clearly so much older than she is in real life. Yeah, she's in her late 20s or something like that, but she's playing a character who's 80, and she plays it extremely well. But yeah, I thought the story was a lot of fun this season. I loved seeing all these characters together. I know a lot of people were upset that there wasn't some big Geralt send-off, but I feel don't do that. You need to play the show as if nothing is going to change.
Right, because Geralt's not leaving. Henry Cavill is leaving.
Henry Cavill is
It'd be weird to do that, and then you just back.
Exactly.
But as a different face. But everybody was expecting some big send-off, and I'm just well, if you're writing the show and you're going to continue the show,
there's no point.
Okay, sure, Henry Cavill's leaving, but if you make it a whole big thing that he's leaving, then it's weird.
Stop.
You're just going to make it worse.
Yeah.
It's going to feel more disjointed when Oh Boy shows up.
And it'll feel even worse for people who maybe weren't into the show when it first came out and don't know, further down the line, when people who maybe don't know about all the TV show drama that went on behind the scenes, they're watching the show and all of a sudden there's this big, huge Geralt send-off type of thing at the end. In the middle of the show.
Now there's a different one.
Or they'll just think did the show end? And then they brought it back? What's
going
happened?
on?
Yeah.
What's happening? Don't do that. It's bad. But yeah, I thought that this season was great. I thought it was a great send-off for Henry Cavill. I feel like he finally got to really play. I think he got to have more fun with Geralt this time around because he got to have Yennefer and Ciri around the whole time. Yep. And that's fun to me. It was great. Had a great time.
Nice. We love that. We love when you have a great time.
See.
I will miss him so much.
Me too. To the point where, well,
I will continue watching.
yeah, I'm not a huge Liam Hemsworth fan. So
I don't care about that. I'm here for Yennefer and Anya
Right.
Chalotra.
yeah, no, I know that's why you're here. But yeah, I don't know.
Like, I came for Henry Cavill.
Yeah, and you
I'm staying
stayed
for
Anya
Yennefer.
Yeah.
What for Henry Cavill? I'm just kidding.
All right, that takes us to number 6, Dallas.
Number 6. Cassie, if you skip me,
The allegation.
you're guilty. There's no more allegations. It's just a fact.
Oh God.
My number 6 is The Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix. Okay.
I knew.
Allegation.
I knew.
It is a fact.
Okay.
No
okay.
more-
Listen.
No.
We can talk
I
about it
feel
when
like-
we get to yours.
I could say that the reason I'm skipping you is for one scene that does not have any horror in it.
Sure, you can
Could
say
be
that.
right.
Come out the horror closet.
Just come on out.
I'm just
I'm
gonna
not
say I
getting
feel
a
like
horror
Dallas was setting you up, Cassie, and that's it.
Hey, Gabby, what's your number 6?
What's your number 6?
My number 6 is Jury Duty. Did any of you guys watch it?
No.
It was recommended. Is this one with Jason Marsden?
Yes. James
Marsden.
James
Sorry,
Marsden.
James Marsden.
sorry.
Jason Marsden
It
is
was-
the voice actor.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love them both. It
Yeah.
was recommended to me, and I never got to it.
Okay, let me tell you about it. Jury Duty is an American reality hoax sitcom
What a
television
genre.
series created by Lee Eisenberg and Gene Stupnitsky. So basically, it looks like if you didn't understand the show in any context, you'd be like, oh, it's like The Office. It's like a mockumentary style show about a jury. The thing is, though, there is one person in the show that has no idea that it's fake.
Right.
His name is Ronald Gladden, who it turns out is just the sweetest, nicest
Aw.
man on the planet, ? Like he was so good the whole show. It's just like every time he was given an opportunity to be a good person or like, take the heat off somebody or something like that, he did it. Like
I love
he was
that.
they picked the right person. You find out in the last episode that they engineered a lot of things so that like he had the opportunity to be a good person but it was his choice, obviously,
Right.
because he didn't know that this
He
was
took
like
the right path.
and he took the right path.
Nice.
Like they gave him a bunch of different. So like, for example, there was a character on the show that's kind of weird and kind of creepy. And they asked him to play up the creepy. And he was sort of interested in like cybernetics and like humans being mixed with technology. And he was really weird.
All right.
And then they had to sequester the jury. Ronald knew. He found out that it was James Marsden's fault that they got sequestered. And then he didn't tell anybody
Nice.
that like
No
it was
snitching.
James Marsden's fault. And they were together for 3 weeks. And James Marsden like got himself excused from having to stay at the shitty hotel.
Oh my God.
And he still didn't say anything to anybody.
I love that.
First of all, Ronald is such a good person. And then so they put this guy that like plays with inventions and he's really weird. And they put him in a hotel room next door. And then he had an adjoining door.
Mhm.
With Ronald. And then the guy next door, he told Ronald, hey, like our door is adjoining. And Ronald was like, oh, really? And opens the door. So like he was basically like, I'm cool with us,
Right.
you know,
Sharing the
communicating through
space.
this door, first of all, which is cute. And second of all, like, okay, old boy next door starts sending him notes under the door and he responds. And it's just like, and like, he's like, hey, like, let's have like a code. Like 1 knock means this, 2 knocks means that. And then Ronald like responds with the knocks. Like
Adorable.
he's a sweet man. And then he like watches A Bug's Life with the guy because he's like, just people that are like inventors and like have these ideas are seen as outcasts. So I just wanted to encourage him to like keep going because like, people think he's weird, but like, he could contribute something to society. So I just watched A Bug's Life with him because that's how people think of Flick at the beginning. And it's so
That's
like,
adorable.
He's a sweet, sweet man. Oh my God.
He found his flick.
Oh, so sweet. And so at the end, obviously they revealed to Ronald that everything was fake.
Right.
And they had made him foreman. So he was like leading everything at the end. And I was like, is this it? Is this just how it's going to go? But no, the entire last episode is them like breaking down how they faked everything to Ronald and revealing everything. And he was like, wow, you guys suck. Like,
Yeah.
you're all sons of bitches. And then they awarded him $100,000.
Nice.
So like he got a prize for being there. And the whole
That's awesome.
time he was referred to as the hero. It's just... And it's so good. And all of the actors did an excellent job. It was hilarious too. Like if you had just been watching the show as like a mockumentary, it would have worked too.
Nice.
So sometimes I would forget that like Ronald like is just a dude
Mhm.
that has no idea what's going on
Right.
around
Just a
him.
regular guy.
Yeah, it's amazing. And It's so good. And James Marsden is there, and he's playing himself, which is wild. Like, James Marsden is James Marsden, the actor. And actually, when Eric pointed out this, my partner pointed out this interaction at the very beginning of the show between Ronald and James Marsden. So Ronald's like recognizes him, obviously, because he's supposed to. Mm-hmm. And he's like, what have you been in recently? And he's like, oh, I was in Sonic. And then Ronald goes up to him and goes, oh, I heard that movie sucked.
Oh. Ronald, no.
And then James Marsden was like, well, you should see it. And then the next day he came in, talked to James Marsden, was like, you know what, man, I owe you an apology. I watched Sonic last night and it was really good.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, so that's jury duty. We can move on.
Cassie, what's your number 6?
My number 6 is Grand Crew, which
I've heard of that.
Interesting because it's a really fun sitcom, group of black friends having fun, being friends, drinking a lot of alcohol because that's what they do. It did get canceled, but the interesting thing about it is I remember I watched season 2 and it ended and I was like, that feels like a series finale. And then the show got canceled. So I don't know. I guess they were going to continue, but it was like, no, this feels very final. So at least it has an ending that feels final, but I don't know. It's just like, it's a fun time. It does not ask you to question anything about life or existence or people. It's just like, watch these people. They're funny. It's a good time. You're going to have a good time. Like, I'm not usually into sitcoms. Make them full of black people. Okay. You know,
helps.
I'm much more interested.
Black people make everything better is one of our slogans.
It is one of the mottos of the show.
Yes.
And it's true.
Nice.
We just like to hype up our people. I'm rooting for everybody black.
Yep.
Nice.
All right.
It's really fun.
Dallas, I'm about to do you a favor. My number 6 is Gen V, which is developed by Eric Kripke, Evan Goldberg, and Craig Rosenberg, and it stars Jazz Sinclair, Chance Perdomo, Lizzie Broadway, Maddie Phillips, Jordan Thor, Derek Liu, Asa German, and Shelley Kahn. And the IMDb summary is, from the world of The Boys comes Gen V, which explores the first generation of superheroes to know that their superpowers are from Compound V. These heroes put their physical and moral boundaries to the test, competing for the school's top ranking. Gen V is so good.
It really is.
It's so good.
Fantastic.
I love The Boys, but me and you have talked a lot about how I watch The Boys, and I just go, why am I still watching this show?
Yeah.
I think I like Gen V more than I like The Boys, but I like Gen V more. I don't necessarily think it's the better show. I like it more just because I like following the younger characters and them trying to figure out the world with these superpowers and being in like a university environment.
I feel you on that. There's something about this group that...
Love them.
Yeah, they seem more likable. And, you know, maybe it helps that they are younger and they haven't been as ruined by the society that this show takes place in.
Yeah, this is one of the few shows that I watched this year that I actually watched more than once. I did actually rewatch the first season of Gen V.
Nice.
I already was really interested in it because not only is it taking place in the Boys universe, but I like Jazz Sinclair and Chance Perdomo from The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I thought they were two really great. They were both really great on that show. Chance Perdomo played one of my favorite characters.
He's really good.
He's great.
He plays Andre?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that this show does the same sort of social commentary thing as The Boys, but from sort of a different angle, I guess you could say. Kind of almost a little bit more subtly, or maybe it's just more it's from more of a young adult angle.
Yeah. I don't think it feels any more subtle to me.
Yeah.
But seeing it from that perspective, it's interesting because I was talking to Kayla last night, unrelated to this, about kind of that red pill pipeline online and how that can happen.
That was
and what
such
happens
a good
with Sam
arc.
in this. Yeah. And I was so upset because I was just like, Sam, just protect him and keep him safe.
And then
from
to see
everyone,
him go
himself.
off like
And
that.
I was like, no, get those red pill losers away from my boy.
He's so sweet. And then he wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And then one of the other things I really liked was the switch of perspectives, because when you go into The Boys, the whole thing of The Boys is kind of yo, down with the soups. The soups freaking suck.
Mm-hmm.
And then on this show, it's more we see the world from the soup perspective.
Right.
So then it's more I understand why you would be upset with regular humankind.
Mm-hmm.
And you're starting to root for these soups. So it's watching both of the shows, you get the different point of views. That there's a character on this show that literally gets called out for having the same viewpoints as Carl Urban's character.
Oh, yeah.
Which I was I had been thinking that for a while, but for them to say it on the show, I was just I'm so happy that this show is acknowledging this, because it's such an interesting facet of the show to switch that perspective on us. And I don't think a lot of people would really realize that that's something that the show is even doing.
Right. And just like showing how dangerous that perspective can be depending on who has it. Because Butcher,
I think it's dangerous even with Butcher having
it's extremely dangerous. He's a psychopath. But like it's dangerous in that
but the thing is, somebody has a leash on Butcher, and they don't have a leash.
And this character has power, has resources that Butcher doesn't have, and it's oh no, this is gonna get genocidal real quick.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And one of my favorite lines in the show, Emma. I love Emma.
Emma's great.
And when she meets Sam, he's
been locked up his whole life.
Yeah, and he has some mental issues.
Because he's been locked up his whole life.
He's got a little misguided in how this, like, he thinks she might not be real.
Oh.
Like, she might be in his head. And she's like, nah, dude, I'm real. And then he says, if you're real, what's my favorite movie? That doesn't make sense. But
she's like, I don't know.
No, she says, well, you're a white guy. So Star Wars, Godfather, or Shawshank. And he says it's Waterworld. Which makes that joke even better. But
and then he explains why it's Waterworld.
I was like, oh God, a Waterworld reference is always fun.
Yeah, it's such a good show. Like, it still has like some of the more crazy gratuitous stuff that you find in The Boys.
Yeah.
But even then, that stuff, there's only one that I can't watch. Like, there's only one I can't do. And I don't
this one or The Boys?
In Gen V, and I don't even have that body part. I just
I was gonna say it's the dick, right?
Yeah.
Oh, where she like
it's bad.
It's
real
bad.
bad.
It's so bad.
I have the same feeling with Gen V that I have with The Boys. Every once in a while I'm watching and I'm just like, why am I still watching? And then I watch and it's like, because it's good. It's really good. It's really well written. The characters are great. But something happens and I'm just wish it didn't.
Yeah, and they left us off on a really good cliffhanger. I can't wait to see where season 2 goes. And I also am even more excited for The Boys season 4 because we're gonna pick up where Gen V sort of left off.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
It'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Love that. Great show.
It's fantastic. So yeah, that's my number 6. It's Gen V. Let's move on to our top 5. Dallas, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Scott Pilgrim Takes Off on Netflix.
Hey.
I love it so much. It is developed by Brian Lee O'Malley and Ben David Grabinski and stars Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Satya Baba, Kieran Culkin, Chris Evans, and a bunch of other dope people. I'm not going to list them all because if you remember Scott Pilgrim,
there were a lot of people.
So everybody that's on that in that movie is like big now.
Yeah. So the IMDb summary is Scott Pilgrim meets the girl of his dreams, Ramona Flowers, only to find out her 7 evil exes stand in the way of their love. Not exactly. That is how the movie goes. And if you watch the first episode of the show, you're going to think it's just the movie again. And it takes a hard turn, and it takes a turn in a great way. There's a YouTuber I follow. I might have said this when we talked about the show on the podcast before. Johnny Two Cellos, shout out to him. He said the show is, I think, the perfect antidote for modern reboot culture.
Ooh.
In that way that a lot of times they'll bring something back and just do it exactly the same. And everyone's like, why do this? We already have it. And they're like, for money, dude. And then sometimes they'll do it and just make it worse. But we did it in a way that we brought everyone back.
Yeah.
We picked a medium anime that complements the material perfectly. We were telling the same story, and then we decided, no, we're going to tell a completely different story. So it's perfect. You brought everyone back. You have everyone that we needed here. You modernized it in a way that there's just certain things that are different now than they were in 2010. Like Envy Adams, when she shows up, now fangirls are yelling mommy at her.
Oh,
because that's what they do.
Oh my
That's what they do
God.
now.
So yes.
Like,
I cannot deal.
It's perfect.
I love it.
They absolutely would.
Exactly. Envy Adams is the kind of character who would be called mommy all over the internet.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
And she probably is,
and she probably loves it.
And
she's probably like, I am mother.
I am mom.
And man, the show's just
and being vegan's
so
not
good.
like rare anymore.
It's not rare, but they still have to use the vegan power element, which is hilarious.
Love it.
But also, this show is gayer now.
Ooh.
Which
We love it.
the source material is already gayer than the movie.
Yeah.
Like we get more with Kim and Roxy, the one played by Katara. She has an episode that is fantastic. It's the one that, to me, honestly, I would recommend the whole show. But
I'll get to it eventually. Devin wants to do a full Scott Pilgrim day.
I love that. I want to be there. And the third episode is called Ramona Rents a Video, and their fight takes place in a video store. It's so good. And Roxy is so chaotically thirsty, and it's great. I don't have to say too much because this show came out very recently, and I recently talked about it on the podcast.
We have a review for it. Go check it out.
Yeah. So you know how I feel about it. Just know it's fantastic. But also, Edgar Wright, Love Edgar Wright.
Yep.
They reference him in ways that the show gets super meta. Like they have a production kind of about Scott Pilgrim, directed by a dude named Edgar Wrong.
Bravo.
And there's a cameo from Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
I love it.
And I won't detail what it is, but when you see it, if you're familiar with Edgar Wright's movies,
yes,
you're gonna be like, oh, that's awesome.
Yay.
And it is. So shout out to this show and everyone involved.
I love this for us.
I love it so much.
Specifically me, because I want to watch this show.
I can't wait to watch it. Talk to me about it. When
I feel like it would have been on my list if I'd seen it, but alas.
Immediately hit my top 5 when I watched it. But yeah, that's my number 5.
Gabby, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Abbott Elementary.
Hey.
Yeah.
Jesus, it's been a long year.
It finished earlier this year. Yeah. I mean, like it didn't end like the season.
No.
Season 2 ended earlier this
season,
year.
And I probably would have remembered it if we had a normal fall schedule, but the studios didn't want to pay writers or actors.
So. Yeah, so things got delayed.
On your list.
I forgot.
Again, it's been a long ass year. It has been a long ass year.
It has been a long year.
Is it on anyone else's list?
No.
Cassie? No. Okay, damn. Wow. Okay. So, Abbott Elementary, created by Quinta Brunson, stars Quinta Brunson, Tyler James Williams, Janelle James, Lisanne Walter, Chris Perfetti, Cheryl Lee Ralph, and William Stanford Davis. It's on my list because it's hilarious and it's amazing and it's delightful and it's
great every week.
Yeah, it's great every week. It's wholesome. It's amazing.
No misses.
No misses. Very sweet. I love a workplace comedy. First of all. And I love a workplace comedy where the people are awesome and the goals are positive and no one's punching down. Mm-hmm. And that's what this show is. Even though it's something new that like, I don't know how the episode's going to end, it's still comforting because I know that the goals here are positive.
I also found one of the things that I really liked about the show is that like none of us work in the public school
we do not
area, but we all went to public school, and there was an element of that is familiar and relatable.
Yes,
like I don't relate to like I'm not a teacher, so I don't relate to the teacher struggle. However, I do know that these are things that are problems in public school because I have experienced those problems in public school.
Yeah. And our public school system wasn't exactly great. Yeah, like I know Pasadena has a reputation of being like rich people town, but they don't
send
give
their
a
kids
fuck
to private schools.
Yeah, I was like, they don't give a fuck about the public schools, man. They are poorly run.
To be fair, our public schools are doing way better now. Like my brother's in high school now, and like the school that he goes to, my mother wouldn't even let me go to. So
was it?
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna put him out there like that. That's awful.
That's only true. It was true.
Also, I don't need people to know where my little brother goes to school.
You're right.
It bleeped out.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to this fictional school.
I wasn't allowed to go to that school either.
Abbott Elementary. It's funny because we all love the show.
It's great.
I love it slightly less than Gabby and Demi, but the things that I do love about it, like they just bring in things that kind of cater to me. Like Zach Fox in season 1.
So funny.
Amazing. And then obviously he has a smaller role in season 2, but they bring in Vince Staples and oh my God.
Vince Staples
I'm the biggest Vince Staples fan in the world. So when he came in, I was like, it's Vince Staples. And then they worked him into an actually important arc of the story. Mm-hmm. And I felt so blessed because I thought he was just going to come in
and leave.
What's the dude's name?
Like a cameo? Or
Tyler James Williams' name.
Gregory.
Eddie.
Yeah.
Yes, both of them. So I was like, oh, he's just going to be his friend for this episode where they're in the club.
And it was like, no.
It's like, no, he's in the rest. But also, Vince Staples is just so good.
Yeah, it's very funny.
He's goofy as all hell in that episode when he needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like when
he's already a naturally funny dude.
Yes,
exactly.
He's so funny.
Like when he's talking about Janine, and obviously he doesn't know Gregory cares so much about Janine.
Yeah.
Janine, but he's like, he's like, oh yeah, she seems cool, but is she tall enough to ride this ride? And then, and then Gregory's like, no, just don't. And then he looks at, I think, the principal.
Yeah.
He's like, she's definitely tall enough to ride this ride. And Gregory's like, anybody I don't work with, bro. Anybody else.
Yeah, no, this season also made me a fan of Io Debris. This was the first time I think I had ever seen her in anything. More on that tomorrow.
She's been busy this
She's been busy.
It has been her year.
And then also Taraji P. Henson had a guest spot this season, which really makes me want an episode that has both Taraji P. Henson and Io Debris in it. Because, yes, please.
Awesome.
I want to deal with that family drama.
Yep.
Taraji, there's something about, she's always had this kind of energy, but this show used it perfectly when Ava came up to Janine and said something, and Taraji just looked at her in a way that Ava was like, no, I'm not gonna mess with
Amy
you.
was like, you look like you can fight. And I'm
Exactly.
not.
She's like, no. But it's like perfect because that's the energy Taraji has always had.
Yeah.
But yeah, great show. Fantastic. We love a black sitcom.
We do.
Yeah.
Cassie, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is What We Do in the Shadows.
Hey.
Oh.
Consistently a hilarious show. And I especially like this season focuses a lot on Guillermo and like his storyline.
Oh.
I love him, and I'm really glad because, you know, major stuff happens to him, and it's like, cool, we have to explore that. So we're going to do that this whole season. And it's just really interesting and really fun. But, you know, the vampires are hilarious too. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just a really great show that is very silly. And, I love it so much.
Cass, Guillermo is Harvey.
Yes.
Harvey.
Yeah.
To me, did you know that he plays Nightwing on Harley Quinn?
Yes, I did.
What?
Yeah.
I did.
And he plays him so annoyingly, but he's really good.
He was on something recently that I watched too. He did another voice somewhere.
A lot of these people, and
I think
I haven't seen the
he's
show.
in Wish. I think he's in Wish.
oh yeah, I think I
Yeah.
heard that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he is.
He's also in Blue Beetle, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, he's
But like a lot of these people that are in the show, which I haven't seen, are in a lot of things I'm realizing. Like Kevin Novak, who plays Nandor the Relentless, is like one of the main antagonists in the last few seasons of Archer. And he's so goofy.
It's funny that you mentioned Harley Quinn because also the showrunners of Harley Quinn, they're EPs on Abbott
Yes,
Elementary.
that's true.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Cool.
Wild.
Yeah, that's why Janine and Gregory
Oh yeah, they're
Quinta
Hawkman and Hawkgirl
and Tyler are in the like horny Valentine's Day special,
special.
playing a couple. It's great. You would love it.
It's fantastic.
I
Anyway,
have to.
Cassie, continue.
Yes.
Watch it.
Back to What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, it's like they're 5 seasons in, and it feels like it never stops being good. And like, you know, there's no reason they would run out of ideas, but I don't know, it just remains so good. And there's, you know, characters from past seasons who come back for a bit, and like there's a character named Sean who is just a human who Laszlo is friends with, and is very run-of-the-mill dude who shows up like at least, I'd say maybe once a season, and is always great. And he's in, I think, 2 or 3 episodes this season because there's a whole mini story with him. And it's like, yeah, the show rocks. And I would highly recommend it to anybody who just likes funny things, to be honest.
My favorite line in that show is where it's like the vampire lady, and she's like, I cannot even say the name of the vampire that planned that monstrosity. And then old boy goes, I can. His name is Mike. Fucking Mike. It's so good. Or he said, I'll give a fuck. His name is Mike.
Honestly, there's a joke in this season where Nandor is identified as Nandor de Laurentiis that just puts me out.
That's hilarious.
Is that his real name?
His name is
No,
Nando
but
the Relentless.
There's a new interview with him, and he says his name, but they're like, you know, they don't hear it, right? They're like, that doesn't make
Right.
sense. They just call him Nandor de Laurentiis, and it's so good.
Also, as someone who just recently rewatched Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, shout out to Natasha Dimitriou, who's in this show, because she plays Wingnut, the like bat in Ice Cube's crew. She's delightful.
She's so good.
Man, love it. But all right.
All right, my number 5 might get skipped
Let's
because
find
it's Blindspotting.
Oh, definitely getting skipped.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that takes us to number 4, Dallas.
Number 4. My number 4 was one of my honorable mentions last year, and one of my favorite shows ever, Snowfall on FX and Hulu. It is done, created by the late great John Singleton and Eric Amadio and Dave Andron, starring Damson Idris, Carter Hudson, Sergio Perez Menchata, Michael Hyatt, and Amin Joseph. Summary is, you know, crack and stuff. So, Snowfall. There's a couple shows on my list this year that are great. Great season, but they're on the list as high as they are because of how well the season ended the show. Like, the season finale was the series finale, and it wrapped everything up in this way that just feels so perfect that it makes the show better as a whole.
Oh, nice.
You know, sometimes you watch a show, a lot of times people watch a show and they think it's really good, and then the ending kind of fumbles and they're like, that show was trash.
Game of Thrones. Sorry.
I was thinking of Secret Invasion.
Oh.
But
Yeah, it be happening.
it be happening. And this is not the complete opposite, because it's not like it was a bad or a mid show that just got great. It was a really good show with a perfect ending. And in my mind, it's now a perfect show.
Love it.
Damson Idris, Franklin Saint, that man, the Emmys need to stop playing
For real.
And I know the show might be a little urban for you guys, but he is one of the best actors working right now, and y'all need to give him his recognition. He's just so good. He's been good consistently for 6 seasons, especially when you hear him speak in real life, because,
yeah,
you know, he's not just British, but he's like the least hood sounding dude in the world.
Oh, is he real posh?
I think so. It's just like because it's like a Daniel Kaluuya British. Like, you seem like you could be a little street. And then there's the Damson Idris British. I love them both. They're both amazing. Yeah, the way they wrapped everything up, the way he played it, where the character ends up over the course of the last episode. Damson basically has to play this character as like 3 different types of people. And he's amazing at all of it. He's like a whole rise and fall and rise. He's fantastic. Everyone's great. The character arcs are great. They ended with Pride by Kendrick Lamar, made it hit that much harder.
Oof.
And one thing I really love is, obviously I said the show was created by John Singleton, and it takes place in the 80s. But in the last season, obviously it's been a few years, and Franklin and his friend are walking through South Central, and they see them filming a movie. And you see these 3 kids, you see like the director, and I want to say like a Raiders hat or something, and you realize the movie is Boys in the Hood. And I was like, my heart. That's such a great reference. Just like that full circle is just fantastic. Great show. He's great. Everyone in it is great. There's a scene where he is like tied up the CIA agent and essentially torching information, as you do. That's what you do with CIA agents. And he has a gun, and the dude, Teddy, is like, the gun's got to be full of blanks. Like, you wouldn't kill me and risk losing the money. And Franklin just points the gun up and shoots until the bullet hits the ceiling. And the look of fear on Teddy's face is like, oh my God, you've lost your mind. The acting from both of them is fantastic. I love Snowfall. Not everybody loves season 5, but season 6, it bounced back. It killed it. It's perfect. Give Danson an Emmy, or I have to fight John Emmy or whoever is in charge of that. John Emmy, we got to square up. Mr. Emmy.
My Lord.
Come outside. I'm waiting for you.
Gabby, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Bluey.
Bluey.
I wasn't expecting actually a show that she watches with her child to pop up on the list, but you know,
I will explain because Bluey's fucking.
Adults say it's real good.
I've heard that too.
I have too.
Bluey is an extremely good TV show. But let me give you some credits first. Okay, so Bluey is an Australian animated preschool television series. The program was created by Joe Brum, and it is produced by Queensland-based company Ludo Studio.
The kids need representation too.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you the voice cast because we watch Bluey in Spanish. And I don't know how to find the Spanish cast.
Usually you would wait until the show like is completely over, or go through the entire credits, and then wait for the Spanish dub credit to come up.
Yeah, that's the era of streaming.
I did not do that.
So all the credits are like 9 minutes.
Oh, goodness. Alrighty. So we watched it in Spanish, but I've heard that the dad from like the English dub, he's actually like a singer in a rock band. So a lot of adults from like Australia recognize his voice. That's
awesome.
So it takes place in Australia. Bluey is about a blue heeler, which is a type of dog. She's a blue heeler puppy, an anthropomorphized one who has adventures with her family. Damn, the show's so good. It's basically just her with her parents playing make-believe or going out to various things. And the parents on the show, like, they actually play with her. If they're playing pretend, like, the parents are like fully committed. If they've decided that like this, you know, stick is now a wand, like everybody commits to it. Or if like this xylophone makes you freeze, like they could fully commit. It like makes you want to be a better parent. And then there's storylines where you're just like heartbroken. Like there's a storyline where like they haven't seen their auntie in like 4 years, like their mom's sister, and you're like, why haven't you seen my mom's sister in 4 years? And it turns out like she's infertile. Like you find out during the show that she's infertile, and seeing her sister's children basically hurts her heart.
That is rough.
Yes. This is a show for children.
You got to teach the kids about infertility early.
Oof. And so you find out that like that's why the auntie doesn't visit, because she desperately wants children, and her nieces make her sad. It's so good. There's another episode where like you realize that the mom's had a miscarriage. Like they like sneak it in there, and you're like, oh shoot. There's another episode where like, you know, there's an abandoned toy at the park, and
how do you watch Bluey show?
It's so good. I did cry.
Of course.
Then I just move on. It's so good. It's also just like it's cartoon show for children. So like the blow is soft. They don't really go into depth, right? It's just hinted at mostly. But oh god, they use musical cues very well. Also, they use classical music, like arrangements of classical music as like familiar classical music songs as like the soundtrack, basically. So you'll be able to like recognize kind of where the plot is going based on how well you know the classical music. And it's just a very sweet show, very imaginative, hilarious, and the family's adorable, and the parents make you want to be a better parent. So I know it's for kids, but it's so good and I highly recommend it.
Nice.
I mean, we watch it on a loop because we have a baby that loves the show and she sings along to the songs, which is wild considering she can't really speak. She found a way to do it. And
my parents said that I used to sing myself to sleep at night. Or I used to sing in my sleep. So
Kids be singing.
Babies be singing, apparently.
Yeah.
Words, no. But...
No. It's like, yeah. But like the theme song to Bluey is like, there's like a little rock portion and then it stops and it goes, Mom.
Oh, I heard it last night.
Oh, yeah, you heard it. Okay. So like she sings along to that. She'll just be like, ah. Like, it's so cute. Oh my God. I'll show you guys the video later. It's adorable.
All right.
Cassie, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Yellow Jackets.
Hey.
Everybody loves a show about teenage cannibals. Hell yeah.
Cannibalism.
Good Lord.
Your brand.
I don't want it to be.
I don't want it to be either, but here we are.
Yeah, and they do go full cannibalism in season 2, like, unquestionably, and it just made me so sad.
Yay.
But that said, the show is, it's so good. Like, I love, because the whole thing with the show is that it's doing 2 timelines of one timeline of these teenagers who get a plane crashes in the forest and like, how do we survive? The other timeline is, it's like 20 years later, how are we like coping as people? And the answer is they're not. And it's great.
Yikes.
Oh boy.
Season 2 was fantastic because it introduced 2 more of the adult versions of characters who we just hadn't seen in season 1. Girl, like, it's like you find out, oh, this girl became a cult leader. And it's like, yeah, of course she did. Of course she did. Let's see how that fucking works, though. And it's wild. Culture wild. I don't like them. Also, like, Elijah Wood is there for most of the season in a role that I don't particularly love, but respect. Like, he's doing stuff.
Yeah.
I love this show so much, and it just the way that the characters interact with each other, especially because, you know, they introduce 2 more of the adults, and then all of the adults get together at some point, and so they're just talking about, like, their experiences and, like, how that was, and, you know, it's a question of, like, was there something supernatural in the woods that made us do all the weird shit and the terrible shit we did? Or are we just like that? And there kind of isn't an answer to that because it could be either or. But
they kind of like, it might actually be something like that.
There sometimes stuff happens and it's just like, okay, I don't have a rational explanation for that yet. Maybe I'll get one, but I don't know, man. And
all right. I've heard good things about the show.
It's very, very good. I would very highly recommend it. Also, there's cannibalism if you're into that.
Yeah, fans of cannibalism.
Oh my God.
Like yourself.
I happen to like shows that have cannibalism in them.
What a sentence that I've never said.
Whenever I try and make that argument, Dallas never allows it. So we're just going to keep pushing.
That is how we do things here.
So I just don't talk to him about stuff anymore.
That is the solution usually, yeah. All right. Where are we now?
My number 4 is Ahsoka.
Hey.
Created by Dave Filoni, starring Rosario Dawson, David Tennant, Natasha Lubordizzo, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Ray Stevenson, rest in peace, Ivana Sacno, Diana Lee Inosanto, Lars Mikkelsen, and Iman Asfandi, and featuring Hayden Christensen and Ariana Greenblatt. The synopsis is, after the fall of the Galactic Empire, former Jedi Ahsoka Tano investigates an emerging threat to a vulnerable galaxy. Yeah, I love this show so much. This might be, I think it is my favorite Star Wars live action show.
Okay.
I think Andor's the best one, but this one is my favorite one because it did everything that I wanted from a Star Wars show. I had been saying before this show came out that I really missed the mystical element that is inherently a part of Star Wars because of what Jedi are, which are space wizards.
Yeah.
But we've been kind of lacking Jedi in live action. The animated series have had Jedi in them, but we haven't gone into it with the live action shows. Mandalorian is pretty grounded. Andor is the most grounded Star Wars anything you can ever watch. But what I love about Ahsoka is that it feels like Star Wars in the way that you could take Star Wars and you could take all of those characters, all of those tropes, all of those story plot elements, and you could set them into a high fantasy world and the story would still work. And I feel the same way about Ahsoka, where it's like you could take these characters and put them into a high fantasy world and the story would still work. I love Ahsoka. I've loved Ahsoka since I watched Clone Wars for the first time a few years back. Rebels is possibly my favorite Star Wars show, period. So the fact that Ahsoka is just a continuation of that is just, this show is for me. Natasha Liu Bordizzo is fantastic as my favorite ever Mandalorian, Sabine Wren. Ivana Sakno, I love her as Shin Hati. And also Ray Stevenson as, oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name? I want to say it's Baylor, but I think I'm wrong. It's so good. The return of Hayden Christensen. Oh, episode 5 of Ahsoka is one of my favorite episodes of TV that happened this year. Hayden Christensen was so good as Anakin Skywalker, and Ariana Greenblatt, like the entire episode, I was just like, she looks familiar. She looks so familiar. I was like, she looks like Ariana Greenblatt. That looks like Ariana Greenblatt, but Ahsoka's orange. So, you know. But I was looking at her, I was just like, that looks like Ariana. Is that Ariana? And then I got to the credits and it was like, Ariana Greenblatt. I was like, yeah, girl, go ahead and get it, man.
Good for her.
She's so good as younger Ahsoka. Just to wrap this up, I think one of the things that episode really, truly did for me is Cassie likes to say that animation is the superior medium, and I can't agree with that. Not because I'm choosing which is a superior medium. I just think both of them are good for what they're good for.
Fair.
In this situation, I've watched all of Clone Wars. Well, almost all of Clone Wars. I watched Ahsoka be a teenager for 7 seasons, and nothing hit me as hard as seeing live action 16-year-old Ariana Greenblatt playing Ahsoka Tano and seeing her lead an army in the middle of a war. Animation could not have prepared me for seeing an actual 16-year-old face. Like, I was watching it and was just like, no, I can't wrap my head around the fact that you are a teenager and they're letting you be a commander in a war. Yeah. Like, and that's like a big part of the episode is her coming to terms with things that happened in the past and having to learn how to move on into the future. But it's so good. The whole show is so good. Episodes 4 and 5, I felt like every week the show would get better and better, but episodes 4 and 5 particularly are phenomenal. So yeah, my number 4 is Ahsoka, my favorite Star Wars live action show that we've had. Thank you, Dave Filoni, because oh my gosh, I cannot wait to see what we get with season 2. My boy Ezra is back. They brought him home, and I'm so happy to see that he's back.
Nice.
That's number 4. Top 3, guys.
To the top 3.
Ooh, Dallas, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Shrinking on Apple TV Plus.
Skip. Wait, actually, is that a skip? Let me double check. No, it's not.
Number 3. Gang. Yes, Shrinking is created by Bill Lawrence, Jason Segel, and Brett Goldstein. Shout out to Roy Kent. It stars Jason Segel, Harrison Ford, Jessica Williams, Kristen Miller, Michael Urie, Luke Tenney, and Lukita Maxwell. And the summary is a grieving therapist starts to tell his clients exactly what he thinks. Ignoring his training and ethics, he finds himself making huge changes to people's lives, including his own.
And we're going to have to deal with the consequences of that in season 2.
Yeah, which was I was going to say, it was going great until the last episode of the season.
I love the show so much.
Me too.
And I saw the trailer for it, and I thought, that looks okay. You know, whatever. I like Jason Segel.
Yeah.
I think I told you guys that you guys were going to like the show.
I think so.
Yeah, because you'd already seen it.
I had already seen it.
I think so.
And I was like, you guys are going to love this.
And I was like, let me give it a shot.
It's also a Pasadena-ass show.
Exactly.
Like, I did not expect it to lean so Pasadena heavy.
Which helped.
Yeah.
But it's just also created by Bill Lawrence and Brett Goldstein. Like, Ted Lasso's one of my favorite shows ever. So I was like, I gotta give this a shot.
And Scrubs.
Yeah, he's done a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
It's so good. And the way I often describe it, the show came out, it started in January, by the way.
Yeah, this is one of those shows on my list that was
digging
ages
deep
ago.
into my memory for this one.
Same.
But I remember feeling like Ted Lasso is that kind of wholesome that is like aspirational wholesome.
Yeah.
Like we don't get that. We don't have that.
Yeah.
But Shrinking is it's a kind of wholesome in a way that the characters want the best for each other.
Yeah.
But not in the really lofty, unattainable way.
The characters, because the characters themselves are not that.
Yeah. And I love the way that they care for each other. Like even when Gabby with 1B goes to confront Liz about how involved Liz has been with Jason Segel's kid. It is not great. And she's handling that in a very bad way.
Yeah.
But
for a psychologist on top of that.
Right? But it's coming from a place of, I love this kid. I love Jason Segel. For some reason, he's the name I'm forgetting, even though he's the main person. Jimmy, thank you.
I remember
all of
Gabby's
these, of course, all of these people just going about these things in sometimes the worst way possible, just care about each other and just need to do it a little better.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. It's so good. It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so Pasadena.
Oh yeah, it's heavily. There's a scene at the Rose Bowl. Is how Pasadena this is. Like, also so there was like filming going on around town for a while, and I was like, what are they filming? They're just still filming. Like, what's going on here?
They're filming season 2 right now, so we need to keep an eye out.
We need to look around. I'm trying to meet Greg
Go
Goldstein.
to that big ass park.
You're right.
Harrison Ford is always
Central Park.
Yeah.
Central Park.
I call it that big ass park.
I mean, you're right. It's not even that big. It's one of our smaller parks.
It's just like a really big patch of grass.
I know. Like,
but it is central.
Yeah, it is central. There's not really much to that park. It's big.
I used to go there.
Big ass patch of grass.
No,
as a kid.
Yeah,
it felt bigger as a kid. Anyway,
definitely.
Shrinking. Yes, super good show. I love the way that they handle their characters, as we were saying, even when the characters are doing like bad things.
Yeah.
And like bad, not like in the sense of like, oh, you're doing something like extremely awful, but just kind of like, that was a mistake. You shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
They do eventually typically realize that they're being wrong.
Yeah.
And they go and they rectify that.
Even Jimmy, who's usually wrong about everything. Like,
from the jump.
He's getting better.
He gets better as the show goes. And that's why I wish Cassie hadn't used it as a 10-minute take.
Yeah.
Because the show and Jimmy are just like at their worst in that first 10 minutes. It's like, Jesus. And then
we got to set up how bad it is.
Exactly. And then it all just grows from there in this way that is beautiful. But man, if you just see that 10 minutes, it's like, oh no, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch a show about this guy.
Yep.
But that's the point. This guy sucks. But let's make him not suck together as a village, as a family.
Yeah.
Takes a village.
Man.
Also, Harrison Ford's performance.
Harrison Ford is so good.
So funny
on this show.
He's so good.
Never in my life did I think I'd see Harrison Ford on a comedy show, and he's so good. So great.
Super good. Amazing. Shrinking's wonderful.
Also, speaking of like the village helping him, Krista Miller. So I don't watch, outside of Ted Lasso, I don't watch a lot of Bill Lawrence stuff. I haven't seen a lot of Scrubs. I haven't seen Cougar Town.
I have seen, I think, all of those.
He seems like your kind of cup of tea.
He is.
But
Cougar Town's delightful.
Krista Miller is his wife.
Yep.
And a frequent collaborator.
Yep.
And I love her.
Oh,
like, this was my first time seeing her.
Yeah.
Her character's great. Her acting is great. Just the way that she's just so over things.
Yep.
Including her husband.
She's really great.
I was really happy to see Luke Tenney on this show because I loved him on Deadly Class.
He's really good too.
And so I love seeing the Deadly Class cast. It's that's such a hard thing to say. Deadly Class cast.
Right.
Do things outside of Deadly Class, even though I wish that show had like continued. I wanted more seasons of that show.
Yeah.
Although he probably would have still had time to do this show because his character dies pretty early on in the comics. That's what happens when you have a show about teenage assassins. People gonna die.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to kill him. But so it was really nice to see him on something else, and he's really great on this show.
Also, the cast is supportive of each other outside of the show because I went to see Brett Goldstein's show and Krista Miller showed up. Like,
I love that.
Yeah, she was like walking in. It's cute.
But yeah, I love their relationship. Like Jimmy and Sean, who's Luke Tenney's character, when they first meet and Jimmy's in his like chaotic therapist era, and he takes him essentially to start fighting. Yeah, the box as a way to like, anger management.
Out.
And then when Sean meets Liz, he's like, "Oh yeah, Jimmy make me fight people for money." And she's like, "What?" It's so good. And also just Jimmy kind of flying by the seat of his pants because he doesn't know anything about even the style of fighting that he's pushing Sean to do.
Oh yeah.
So he's kickboxing.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Sean, you gotta be careful." And the dude kicks him and he's like, "Oh my God, Sean, he can use his feet. I think he's gonna do that the whole time." He's like, "Use your range." I love Jason Segel so much.
Oh, such a good
They're all
show.
so good.
So good.
Great dialogue, great arcs. Lupita Maxwell, like coming out of her show, like Alice just despising her dad and then going to tolerate him.
Yes.
I'm sorry, you mentioned Alice, and immediately my first thought is her forgetting her mom part of the show. And it hurt too much. I was like, this is too close to where I'm at in my life. And Jesus Christ, guys.
I remember we talked about it when we talked about it on the podcast, and I was like, oh, that's a thing I didn't even realize was close to home.
Right? I was like, I'm not even there yet. I'm like, my journey, I'm not even there on the journey. I just know the path is leading in a certain direction. And that's going to be a part of the path that I have to walk down. And I was like, Jesus, not. And I was like, one of the last episodes, I was like, yo, y'all don't need to hit this hard. It's okay. This is a comedy.
And it's interesting because, you know, as sad as that is, you and I are at different stages of that path.
Yes.
So that hits for you as someone, like you said, like, you're not even there yet.
No.
But just looking forward is like, man. And then that hits for me as being where Alice is just like, ooh, I should have seen this coming, given what the show was about.
Oof.
But I sure didn't.
Show didn't.
Sure wasn't ready for that,
Wow.
Mr. Ted Lasso guy.
Oof.
Ted Lasso guy.
Didn't think Roy Kent was going to punch me in the gut.
Oof.
Roy Kent is the one who would do it, though.
He wrote that episode too, huh?
I don't know.
Oof.
I don't remember which episode it is. It's either 9 or 10.
Yeah. How could you do this to a Brett Goldstein, who I love so much? Every time he comes into town, I'm like, let's go watch him live.
You are, actually.
Yeah, I've seen him twice.
But yeah, Shrinking, fantastic. We love it. Cassie would love it too if she watched more than the first 10 minutes, but she won't because the first 10 minutes, it ruined it. Which is fair.
This is why I don't believe in judging a show based on the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's just a thing that we've decided to start doing with Cassie.
There's a whole thing.
Oh yeah, that's my number 3. And Gabby's number 3.
Yes.
Cassie, what's your number 3?
Oh my god. I mean, given that Dallas has already gone before me, I'm assuming it's going to get skipped. My number 3 is Blindspotting.
Oh, skip.
Cool.
Nice.
All right. My number 3 is Poker Face.
Yes, I'm so glad. Because I was like, I'm not going to get to talk about Poker Face. It's literally number 11 on my list.
Yeah, number 3 is Poker Face. It is created by Rian Johnson, aka one of my favorite director or writers of right now, starring Natasha Lyonne, and it features Benjamin Bratt, Simon Helberg, Adrian Brody, Ellen Barkin, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ron Perlman, Judith Light, Laura Howery, Stephanie Hsu, Charles Melton, and so many other people because the cast changes week to week except for Natasha Lyonne. And the IMDb summary is Charlie has an extraordinary ability to determine when someone is lying. She hits the road with her Plymouth Barracuda and with every stop encounters a new cast of characters and strange crimes she can't help but investigate and solve. Yo, Poker Face is so good.
It really
It is.
It's great.
Once you get past like 3 episodes, you know what the formula is, but it makes you even more excited for what's going to happen because it got to a certain point where the show would start, we would watch somebody die, and then it would give us like the title card or whatever, and it was like, oh no,
Right.
here goes our girl Charlie. She finna catch the criminal. She finna catch the killer.
I always found myself wondering, so where does Charlie fit into this one?
Yes, exactly.
It's always a random place with random people, and I'm just thinking,
The barbecue episode, I was like, where's Charlie at?
right. It's like, how does Charlie fit in? Oh, she works here. Okay. And a lot of times it's, oh, she works here.
Yeah.
Because she's always in a different town, finding odd jobs here and there.
Yeah, she has to make money somehow.
Yeah.
It's such a good show. Every show is fantastic. Every episode has a great cast. And just Natasha Lyonne, so good as Charlie.
Fantastic.
So I think this is the first thing I've ever really seen her in. And she is phenomenal.
She's been in a lot, but yeah, like this is the first thing that I think I've really paid attention to that she was in.
Yeah, the show is so well written. One of the things that I was extremely impressed with is that Rian Johnson, who gave us Knives Out, which again, another phenomenal murder mystery, pop culture phenomena, fantastic murder mystery movies. And then he also gave us Brick, which is also one of my favorite murder mystery movies as well.
Mystery.
Yeah,
that is his style.
Good.
But what really impresses me is that all 3 of these murder mysteries are different.
Wildly different.
Yeah, right.
In their storytelling and their narrative, they're so wildly different from each other. Where Brick is kind of like a noir film, but with teenagers. And then we have Knives Out, which is more of an modern Agatha Christie type of murder mystery. And then this one, a lot of people have been saying it's like a modern Columbo. Like he just understands the murder mystery genre so well from different artistic viewpoints. And he's so good at doing every single one of them. And I cannot wait for season 2. I can't wait to see Charlie solve some more murders because it's so much fun. And it's so exciting whenever she says bullshit because we just know.
It's like her involuntary tics when someone is lying. Like, I'm sure I talked about it when we talked about this show months ago, because it also started in January.
Yeah, this is another. Actually, all three of my top 3 shows are from either January or February.
Yeah, the year started off really strong.
Yeah, real strong.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of movies for TV. Like, you know how January's like.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. They're like, nah, put that heat out.
January's like a dump and grab.
Yeah.
But there's one, before we move on, there's one scene, and I wish I remembered which episode it is, but it came out so long
I'll try
ago.
and remember.
Someone tells her a lie right as they're closing a door, and she's talking to them, and
That was
it's
the
when
movie one, wasn't it?
I think so, with the visual effects people, right?
Yes, I think so.
And she's been around so many lies because she's working with movie people that she started to have a twitch in her eye, because people who work on movies lie so much that she just like, oh my God, I can't deal with it. She doesn't suspect this person, and she's talking to them. And as they're closing the door, they say something that's not true, and her eye twitches. And then Natasha Lyonne's face, as she realizes what's going on, she's like, and then I was like, Natasha's on the actors list.
That's
Wow.
episode
So
8,
good.
I think.
Yeah, Orpheus Syndrome.
Oh.
Such a good show, and she's phenomenal in it.
Great show.
If you have not seen Poker Face, please do yourself a favor.
Super good.
It's so good. But yeah, that's number 3. What takes us number 2? Dallas,
Now,
what's your number 2?
Speaking of Mr. Bill Lawrence and Mr. Brett Goldstein, my number 2 is Ted Lasso.
Hey, Skip.
Hey, I knew it.
All right, Gabby, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Queen Charlotte.
Yeah.
Oh, the Bridgerton, yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, Bridgerton spinoff. So Queen Charlotte, I think it was supposed to be a mini series. Now I think it was wildly popular, so I don't know if it's
What's happening with that?
Yeah, I don't know what's happening with that. But let me credits. Queen Charlotte, A Bridgerton Story is a historical drama limited series created by Shonda Rhimes for Netflix. The series is a prequel spin-off of the Netflix Bridgerton, and it is about a Queen Charlotte and King George. Yes, that King George. Created by Shonda Rhimes, directed by Tom Varica, starring India Amarteifo, Adja and oh my God. I'm so sorry. I'm butchering these names. Michelle Fairley, Ruth Gemmell, Corey Milcrease, who knows? Golda Goshev. I'm so sorry.
These names are a gauntlet for you. You're playing the game on hard mode.
Man, I thought I was having hard with the anime names.
Bell and Arsema Thomas, Sam Clement, and and Julie Andrews is the voice of Lady Whistledown.
We love Julie Andrews.
And the premise is Queen Charlotte gets married to King George, and he is absent. And she's like, what the hell, dude? And then obviously it leads into them falling in love. And my God, this show. At first I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. Bridgerton show, whatever. And then at the end you're like, oh, it hits you right in the feels. This isn't historic. It's not even a little bit historically accurate. So let's throw that out the window. Like, this is not what this show. Bridgerton is not historically accurate. It will never be. And it's not trying to be. It is fantasy. So King George in real life didn't start going sort of, he didn't start losing his mind till his 50s. In this show, though, they're saying he's like going crazy now. And it's non-specific symptoms, just he's going crazy. He's trying to hide this from Queen Charlotte. And like everybody knows that he's not okay, which is why he's married to Charlotte and not somebody like in England. He's like hiding it from her because the moment he met her, he was like, "Oh my gosh, she's beautiful. I love her." And he's like, "I have to get better." And she's like, "Why am I alone on like my wedding, like during my honeymoon?" So eventually, there's like a scene where he's like, "I'm going crazy. Like I can't tell the sun from the earth," and she's like, "I will tell you what's the sun and the earth." She's like, "Just look to me." And you're like, oh, that scene, I can't quote it, but that whole scene was just like, oh my God. Oh, and both actors, Corey, whose name? I don't know. Milcrease? Whatever.
Corey.
Yeah, Corey and India Amarteifo. They have such good chemistry. They're really great together. Delightful. And she carries the show. Obviously, she's the main character, but it's amazing. Really well done. Love it. Highly recommend. And it's only 6 episodes. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah. Which is probably why I was able to finish it.
Fair.
Not gonna lie.
That's fair.
And yeah, that's Queen Charlotte.
Cassie, what's your number 2?
All right, Dal.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. My number 2 is
Not being the
Fall of the
allegations.
House of Usher.
Okay, pause right here real quick. You are so lucky, because if it was your number 1,
Oh no.
I would slam the gavel down right now. Guilty. No more allegations.
Put him in jail.
This is
Take him out the closet.
I'm sorry, top
Get her
2
off the
is
street.
not allegations.
Oh,
Listen.
it's 100% evidence, but number 1 is crazy.
Paul the House of Usher didn't make me cry, so it couldn't be number 1. Like that's how I rank things. Anyway,
Fair.
Paul the House of Usher is
Okay.
it's so good. Like because before I watched the show, I read a bunch of Edgar Allan Poe stories, and honestly, I think they're fine. There are a couple though that I go absolutely crazy for, and both of them were in this, and that was enough for me to fucking love it.
Wow.
But just like,
Hold on, let me
Who
give
do
the
you go crazy with.
let me give
Oh,
the
do the
credits
thing?
real quick since I got skipped. Yeah, created by Mike Flanagan,
mm.
Big Mike, horror OG, starring Carla Gugino, Bruce Greenwood, Henry Thomas, Kate Siegel, Rahul Kohli, Samantha Sloyan, Tanai Miller, and Mark Hamill. Man,
Damn, Mark Hamill's in this?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
but yeah, talk about what were the 2 stories that you go crazy for?
The Mask of the Red Death and the Cask of Amontillado, which
Oh,
that
dude, the
one
cask of
in particular,
Amontillado.
the first, not even shot of the show, the first thing you hear from the show references that, and it just carries on throughout the entire show. And I was every week I was like, is this the week? Is this the week? Is this the week? And then like finally got to it, I was like, hey, shut that motherfucker in the wall.
Yeah, they do.
And
This show is so good.
It's so good. And like, it also has one of the best monologues I've ever heard.
The Lemon
Oh my God.
The Lemon monologue. Bruce Greenwood is amazing. He's someone that I look at as a Batman because he voices Batman so often. So his voice doing that monologue was fantastic. Another plug for Serialized, the app that is not doing ads with us because they don't know who we are. But one of the funniest things about it is just seeing the reviews that people put on shows. And Fall of the House of Usher has some of the best.
Ooh.
This show has been called everything from gay Succession. Mike Flanagan saw Succession was like, what if they all died?
Yeah.
My favorite review was just, we get it, Mike, your wife is hot.
What?
Hey,
Ayo.
but here's
Ayo.
the thing. Here's the thing.
Who's his wife?
This
Kate
show,
Siegel, I'll show you.
Oh
could
my
call me the
God. I
hottest
know who
she's
she is.
loved.
She's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Like
100%.
she's hot. We know this, but
We know. We all know.
holy shit, this one.
Listen, she looks so good in this show. I considered watching it.
I want you to. My first review for the first episode is, it ends with also, I wasn't ready for silver hair Kate Siegel. And I know I need to hate her, but I don't know if I can. Yo,
What?
I hit all of the Demi hits with this show. I hit Mark Me Down as Scared and Horny. I hit If Bad, Why Hot.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
let me tell you.
You understand finally.
Of course.
I'm reading one right now from.
It's great. But like, what does it say?
It said, I support gays' rights and gays' lives, but more importantly, I support gays' deaths.
I remember that one too. But just the way that like each episode focuses on a different member of the family. And Kate Siegel has a scene where she's talking to her assistants, Toby and Tina, in quotes, because she's yelling at them and she mistreats them because everybody in the family is horrible. And she's yelling at them like, that's not the point, Tina. And Tina, whose name is not Tina, she says, my name isn't Tina. You know that my name is Beth. And the way Kate Siegel delivers the line, I don't give a shit, Beth, is cinema. She killed me with that delivery alone. But just, everything about the show. The cast, fire. The horror, fire. The drama, fire. The comedy, fire. It says a lot, but this is my favorite Mike Flanagan show. And he has been dropping heat every year for the last few
I
years.
think it's probably mine too.
And Carla Gugino,
Oh my God.
good Lord. She plays this, like, I can't even really describe it, but it leads to her playing a bunch of different roles over the course of the episode. And every way that she does each one is just fantastic. I saw the episode about Kate Siegel with Carla Gugino and Kate Siegel like monologuing against each other. Amazing, first of all, but just the amount of times I saw the word mother in the reviews for this show.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, Carla Gugino and Kate Siegel are having a mother off in this episode.
I mean, yeah, they were.
She's so good. They're all so good.
It's honestly, the man don't miss. Like,
The man, he can't. He's incapable of missing.
Give him a Clayface movie so I can finally watch something.
I would
he's
love
too busy
it.
doing Stephen
And-
King adaptation.
And that's the thing, is I'm a little upset with him splitting with Netflix and going to do the Stephen King thing with Amazon. But I know it's going to be fire because he can't make things that aren't great. And his last Stephen King adaptation was Dr. Sleep. And that was amazing. So I know he's going to do it well. But I just love all of these
Original.
These like kind of one-off, these mini-series adaptations with this cast. And then this time we got freaking Luke Skywalker, and that was amazing. Great show. I'm so glad that you watched it, not just for the allegations, but just because, you know, you matched my energy the whole way through the show, and it's so good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I wish you had been with me on my couch. Like, when the show started, I was like, yep, okay, they're getting there. Someone's going to get bricked up in a wall, and I cannot wait.
Bricked up is crazy.
Speaking of bricked up, this show is so horny.
Oh, my
I've never seen Mike Flanagan do something this horny. I was taken aback. I was shocked. I was appalled.
Well, when you put your wife on screen that way, you gotta just meet up to the standard,
right?
No, I'm saying that you have to meet up to the standard with everybody else too. You can't just give it to her.
Yeah, show is aggressively horny.
Aggressively, and you know what? Part of the reason why it's so great.
Yeah.
But nice.
All right, y'all. My number 2 is The Legend of Vox Machina, created and developed by Critical Role and Chris Pronowski, and it stars Laura Bailey, Taliesin Jaffe, Ashley Johnson, Matthew Mercer, Liam O'Brien, Marisha Ray, Sam Riegel, and Travis Willingham. And all of them make up Critical Role. So the general synopsis of the show is they're rowdy, they're ragtag, they're misfits turned mercenaries for hire. Vox Machina is more interested in easy money and cheap ale than actually protecting the realm. But when the kingdom is threatened by evil, this boisterous crew realizes that they are the only ones capable of restoring justice. What began as a simple payday is now the origin story behind Exandria's newest heroes. That's the general synopsis. But the current synopsis that is on IMDb, which is the actual synopsis of season 2, is after saving the realm from evil and destruction at the hands of the most terrifying power couple in Exandria, Vox Machina is faced with saving the world once again, this time from a sinister group of dragons known as the Chroma Conclave.
All right.
God, this show is so good. And like, part of me is like happy that I didn't watch the actual campaign that this is derived from. Right. And the other part of me wishes I had, because I would love to see like all the D&D moments that make this campaign. And obviously it would be way longer. But yeah, I love these characters so much. There is like a conclusion to the season, but it does also feel like it is the beginning of an arc, because there are 4 dragons, I think, in the Chroma Conclave. Ooh. And it's hard to defeat 4 dragons, guys.
Sounds like it would be.
It's real hard. And a big part of this season is they have to find like these very legendary, rare items called vestiges that will help them defeat the dragons, which is also like, I love MacGuffin type stories like that if they're done really well. And this show does it very well. We get to expand into more of the kind of the religious elements of this world that Matt Mercer has created. So Vax meeting the Matron of Ravens, I believe is her name, and she's the god of death. And just like also kind of diving more into Vex and Vax's relationship. They have a very codependent sibling relationship because they're twins and they were mistreated as kids by their father, and so like they've only ever had each other. Right. So there is an instance early on in this season where it's just like, oh no, and Vax gets into the situation that he's in because he wants to save Vex so badly. But just the show is just so good. It's really well written. I love the storylines here. I love these characters, and their voice actors are actors that I absolutely adore from not only watching this animated series, but from watching them on Critical Role and getting to see them bring these characters to life in this animated format. It's really great, and getting to see them have like such control over this show and the story and getting to tell it the way that they told it in the first place, but condensed, is really great. So if you're looking for a really dope adult animated show to watch, I would highly recommend The Legend of Vox Machina. It's on Amazon Prime. It's super good. There's only 2 seasons so far. We'll probably get season 3 hopefully soon, because we got season 2 a year after season 1, so hopefully we'll get season 3 like in the next few months, or just hopefully in the next year. But I also know that they're currently working on another show as well. They're also adapting their Mighty 9 campaign, right? Which means eventually I'm going to get Bell's Hells and I'm not going to survive because my favorite ship is going to be animated and come to life, and I just anyway, more on that ship later. Not today, but maybe tomorrow. All right, that takes us to our number 1.
Number 1.
We made it.
Dallas, I know what your number 1 is, but what is your number 1?
Of course, my number 1 is Blindspotting.
Hey, let's talk about it.
Pour one out.
Amazing. Every year that this show has a season, it's the best.
Are you going to give it the intro, or should I do it? I have it written.
I got it. Created by David Diggs and Raphael Casal, starring Jasmine Cephas Jones, Raphael Casal, Helen Hunt, Jalen Barron, Candace Nicholas Littman, Benjamin Earl Turner, and Atticus Woodward. Summary is, as Miles, Ashley's partner of 12 years and father of their son, is suddenly incarcerated, she is left to navigate a chaotic and humorous existential crisis when she's forced to move in with Miles' mother and half-sister. Also, it is a TV show version of one of the best movies ever made.
No, it's a TV show continuation.
Yeah, that's true. It is a continuation. And boy, does it continue it well.
So good.
It's so good.
I'm so sad we're not getting another season.
I am so
I
mad.
just remembered how the
What are
season
y'all doing?
ended, and then like, oh, okay.
That's the thing. That makes it hurt even more because of the way the season ended in such an amazing way.
But apparently that's how they wanted to end it. So
Whatever. Give me a season 3. I need that. It's so good. The actors, amazing. The episodes, all amazing.
yeah, I'm going to talk quite a bit about these actors. I want to talk about them so badly, but like Jasmine Cephas Jones has been just a revelation both seasons, and they really put her through the ringer in both seasons, to be fair. This one, I want to say that they put her through it a little harder. Ugh, the revelation at the end of the season of what happened on that New Year's Eve night. Oh my God, my heart.
Yeah. And I knew it was going to be something like that because of how they did seasons, like certain things about season 1 and the things that they said. I'm like, something's up. This ain't.
The way that we even get into that episode from the previous episode,
Meat Fest.
Meat
For
Fest
those who
is
don't know.
hilarious.
What a name.
Also, Jalen Barron giving the best comedic gag of the year
God, is it
in
the
that
counter?
episode.
The counting
Yes.
of white people.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
And that's the thing about this show is the way that they do these jokes is that's funny enough. Just she's counting the white people at the party.
Oh, but the
way that
button
they
on it?
build on it and just
The button is amazing.
I know that dude White Daryl. That nigga hella Mexican.
It's so good. Also, Jalen Barron gives a phenomenal performance this year as well. Because I feel like they gave Jalen Barron a lot more to do emotionally this time around.
Yeah.
Last season she was very funny, but she was also kind of like the chaotic, ratchet, almost sister-in-law type character. And then this season she actually had her own like hardcore drama that she needed to get through. So, I'll talk about that. And and she's just so good. The whole cast is so good. Helen Hunt is great. When Helen Hunt got to do the spoken word, bruh.
Oh my
Bruh.
God.
I was like, oh, it's not they gave one to Miles' mom.
Oh man, we're
But
never gonna
those-
see how that story progresses with her thing. I'm so sad.
Yeah.
I feel like we're just meant to assume that there's no happy ending to that.
Right.
Right.
But what there is for us is that she at least has her family.
Mhm.
And
they'll handle it the best way they can.
that's the happiest ending that you can give that story.
Yeah.
Yo, also,
But
like,
man,
Earl.
Earl.
continues to be my absolute favorite.
He's the
I love Earl. Benjamin Earl Turner. Amazing. He comes in and is just my favorite part of so many episodes. The Western episode,
Yeah.
amazing. That whole thing is
And
amazing.
David is in that episode.
And David's in there, and the way Earl comes in like a hero toward the end is just
But also the rap San Quentin Blues
That's-
Ooh.
was on the
Incredible.
playlist for the longest,
Yep,
bro.
same.
every season toward the end we get Earl rapping. It's always my favorite like
Do you go or I go?
musical rap spoken word thing that they do is whatever Earl does toward the end of the season.
Right.
Because that San Quentin Blues,
You go first or I go first?
Incredible.
it was so hard.
Or we'll go together
Yeah.
since we were there together.
So dope.
But also Jasmine Cephas Jones has a couple of real
I like her
dope
too. The one's like,
spoken
I'm not
words.
the one when she's walking and she's drunk and Jasmine has to
I think
act
that's-
wow.
I think that's the Ballad of the Broken.
Okay. I don't know the names. I'm not going to pretend like I know the names.
I have that. I have it open because I have it downloaded to
Okay.
my phone.
Got you.
So,
Like the way that she's walking down and doing the like tipsy walk
mhm.
and kind of having to like,
Do the aggressive, angry
like
rap.
but also hold down the like, while she's so good. That acting is incredible.
She's beyond good. This entire show, just period, just throughout. She's so good.
It hits the drama and the comedy so perfectly.
Always does.
Both of them.
Man, it's just so good. Mustafa, we finally got to see Mustafa, and he didn't look nothing like what I thought he was gonna look
And
like.
he's freaking Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat.
Joe Taslim, and he got to fight. I was like, yo,
He got to fight. He got to serenade her with an E40 ballad.
the episode with Dante
Wanna go back a
Bosco.
second? Yeah. Yo, the
that
Dante
was
Bosco thing.
hilarious.
And that's another thing that they do is just take something that is already amazing once you do it and then just build on it for the whole episode in a way that's just, this is so ridiculous.
Yeah, and
I absolutely love it.
the episode where they visit the prison is also super good.
Mm-hmm.
And they teach their son about systemic racism.
Yo, that
The board game.
I want it to be real.
It's just, Miles keeps going and going, and the kid is like, is it my turn yet? He
No.
says, no. And that's systemic racism.
The show is so good.
It's so
In
good.
every aspect, there's just nothing. I can't
And
say a
thank you.
single bad thing about this show.
Because I think that episode is also the one where they do that, like, is that the one where they kind of go into the thing about slavery?
Yeah, they had the
Yeah.
dance at the end of it, which was beautiful.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the show goes between like being gorgeous and heartfelt and being hilarious and being really dramatic really, really well.
Yes, the tones are perfect.
And also, the episode is called Niggas and Jesus, which is fantastic.
Also, the recaps are done by Bay Area rappers
Bay
every
Area,
single time.
like rappers or celebrities, like Too Short has an episode.
Oh, that's
Life
right.
is
No,
Too Short.
Too Short.
Yeah,
The Too
Too
Short
Short has
episode is so funny.
It's my name is Todd.
What's my favorite word? Nah, guys, I don't
Can't
really
do
want
it.
to sing it.
Can't do it.
I can't do it.
It's all fantastic.
Such a good show.
Yeah, I love it. And that's why it's my number one. It's just amazing. And they aren't really making shows better than this, in my opinion. And now they're not making this one anymore. And I am heartbroken.
Gabby, what is your number one?
We already know what my number one is.
Let's go.
Edward Lasso.
Ted Lasso, a show that I just got into after it ended.
Oh, you just got into it?
I got into it like right after it ended, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right after
Never
season
mind, I
3.
thought.
Oh, my
Because
God.
that's why I'm now like, I liked Hannah Waddingham before, but now I'm like on the Hannah
her.
Waddingham train.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
She's so good.
I love
Do
this
you want me to do
show.
the credits?
Yes,
There you go.
please,
Okay, cool.
please,
Ted
please
Lasso from Apple TV. Developed by Jason Sudeikis. Bill Lawrence is back. Brendan Hunt and Joe Kelly. Starring Jason Sudeikis, Hannah Waddingham, Brett Goldstein, Juno Temple, Brendan Hunt, and a bunch of other amazing people.
See.
Summary is American college football coach Ted Lasso heads to London to manage AFC Richmond, a struggling English Premier League soccer team. So
Yep.
this show, I've seen season 3 times.
I have
Because
not been able to.
I watched it, and Kayla doesn't watch a show until she can binge it.
Oh, okay.
So I was watching it week to week. Once it finished, she was like, okay, I can watch it. So I binged it with her.
Oh.
And then within like the past month, we decided, let's just watch the whole show again.
Aw.
We watched all of Ted Lasso together not too long ago.
Which was fun because you guys had Sid watching it with you too, I think.
Yeah, at the beginning, she happened to be here while we were watching it. And just like watching the show over the course of the few years, I was like, man, this is a really good show. It's like one of the better shows out here. And then watching it all in its entirety together, I was like,
did.
oh my God, this is the best show ever. This is my favorite show ever.
Yeah.
It's just so good. And the way that they build the story, the
And they had
callbacks that they do.
And they had an arc the whole time. Like they knew where it was going.
Mhm.
So it wasn't like everything connects.
Everything connects. I will say this. We all have, we love a good redemption arc.
Yeah.
Zuko is the popular one for
I think that's the best one.
our
ever.
generation.
It's not
and
for
people.
me, but
Honestly, I'm going to be honest.
my favorite redemption arc is Faith from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
My favorite
Yours is
redemption
probably
arc is
Jamie.
Jamie Tart.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And-
oh, that's a good one.
And the reason that, like, it's hard to compare him and Zuko just because, it's a very
things.
different
Yes.
situation.
Yes.
But when you're saying, like, I'm your enemy in battle, I want to kill you, and then I want to join your team, it's an extremely well-written arc.
Yeah.
But for me, once he's on their team, you pretty much did it. Like, you don't need to do a whole lot to get me to, like, buy into that arc because, all right, you stop trying to kill him and now you want to help him. But,
Yeah.
like, a person like Jamie, who he was in season 1,
That's a
Yeah.
real person.
that's
Yeah,
a person. We
exactly.
know Jamie Tarts. And making him my favorite character right in season 3,
Yep.
the talent that it comes with. Oh, God.
Because I was watching it. I binged it. That's how I got into the show. I got to watch it all like in one dose, or one particularly long dose.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was like, I remember season 1. I was like, I fucking hate Jamie. He's the worst.
He is the worst.
And then I got to season 3, and I was like, I can't believe you guys got me to like Jamie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had forgotten how bad he was.
Yeah, me
because
too.
I knew.
I forget. And then we start and I'm like, oh.
When I rewatched it, like, there's one thing he says to Sam,
Oh, yeah.
and I
The
was
way
like,
he treated Sam.
hit this nigga. Like,
Yeah.
Sam is my favorite.
Sam
so
is
like,
our boy.
Sam is a cutie patootie.
And just every interaction he has with Sam in season 3,
Yeah.
it makes me want to cry. This is
Yeah.
like the wholesome brotherly. When he wears Sam's number in
Oh.
the international match,
Oh.
like, that's like Sam and Jamie. His relationship with Roy, their
Yeah.
bestie arc, just
Yes.
even though they're still
That was
kind
the
of fighting
real
over the
season
same
3
girl.
love story.
right. Like, that was this. So many people just wanted that to be a throuple. Like,
Honestly,
She has 2 hands.
I'm okay with it.
Here's two ends.
Oh, I would be okay with that as long as Roy and Keely were together. Oh,
Just like we talked about when we were talking about shrinking, it's wholesome in this lofty way
yeah.
that when I see a character who sucks, unless it's Rupert, I can pretty much think at some point they're not gonna suck.
Yeah.
Like seeing
They're
where
gonna have
Jamie's
their
dad
moment.
ends up in season 3, I was like,
Yeah.
he's a side character
Yeah.
who only exists to be Jamie's tragic backstory, and even he gets a redemption. And I was just like,
Yep. It's wild.
this show, I love it so
It's
much.
so
Yeah,
good.
the lofty wholesomeness of Ted Lasso is what I look for currently in my fantasy television. Thank you.
You're laughing.
That's all I want.
Probably my favorite show of the last like 5 years. I love that show so much. I'm really sad that it's over, but I hope there's like that women's soccer team spinoff moment.
I will take it. Like, and
Me
I
too.
get a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to watch the spinoff without Ted. And Ted is the heart,
Oh,
Yeah.
are they doing that?
obviously. It's rumored.
It's rumored.
People haven't really, it's not confirmed.
Sweet.
And also like that's the little like nugget they gave us in the last episode.
Yeah.
For sure, but that doesn't mean that it necessarily has to go anywhere.
Exactly. And that's the thing is people really want it to. And I think that's why it's a rumor.
It's
Yeah.
a good conclusion to the
Mhm.
arc for Keely and Rebecca.
Exactly.
And there's just a couple of things in the last episode that tell you like, we could continue this.
Mhm.
Like when Ted tells Trent, also gets a redemption arc,
Mm-hmm.
that it's not about me, it never was. And he changes the title of his book from the Ted Lasso way to the Richmond way.
Yes.
The show's about Richmond.
Yeah.
Give me the spinoff, I'll take it.
Yep. Exactly.
But
I would actually watch a show about the women's team.
I'll 100% watch
Yeah.
any show in this universe.
Especially because so English they didn't really have a professional women's league,
Mhm.
and they're starting to like build it. So like teams are starting to have
Make the
their
show.
like women's professional.
But yeah, I could talk about Ted Lasso for years, but I won't.
Me too.
I mean, I will, just not on this microphone.
We
right
also had an episode about it, right?
Yeah.
I think you guys did, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we did.
Yeah, we did. So if you want to check out how we feel long form, it's on
Longer form
Yeah.
Longer than this.
longer form. Yes, it's there.
Yeah. Or just talk to me
on Twitter.
on Twitter. I would love to.
Yeah.
Cass, what is your number one show of the year?
All right, taking a turn away from wholesome to mostly just sad.
Uh-oh.
God.
But,
Uh-oh.
my number one is The Bear.
Oh,
The
oh my gosh.
Forgot about the bear.
That was this year.
Listen, see,
I
that's the thing is
didn't
like
see the season 2.
I couldn't forget about it because the last episode, the last like 10 minutes, I was sobbing the entire time.
I forgot.
Damn.
This was the year that I actually got into The Bear. That should have been on my honorable mentions. The Bear is so good. So good.
Yeah.
Again,
And I
Iowa
haven't seen
Devery.
it, but
Oh my gosh, she is the best part of that show for me. Like, I love all the characters, but Sid, you're the best.
The season was really good too. And the character growth in this season, phenomenal.
It also has, I would say, one of the best episodes of TV I have ever seen, which is like the family
One of the best Taylor Swift music drops I've ever heard. Oh, the family episode is crazy good.
Oh my god! Like that one I watched.
Jamie
and I was
Lee
like,
Curtis
cool,
is
I need to sit down. I
insane.
need to feel.
Oh my
some things.
gosh, yes. John Mulaney is also really good in that episode. Everybody's so good
John
in that
Mulaney's on
episode.
The Bear. Wow, I really
I'm
got to
already
watch
popping
season
up and
2.
stuff.
I really got to watch season 2. Have you
You
seen
do.
the show, Dallas? Oh my God, you got to check it out, Dallas.
Yeah, I would be interested to see what you think about it, Dallas.
I've heard really good things about it. And if my TV list wasn't so long, it'd probably be on there.
And yet,
Over here, 40.
hey, man, me and Dallas have very large plates, okay?
We sure do.
Holy moly.
I'm watching a new show right now, okay? I'm watching 2 shows right now. The Bear is so good. Its ability to capture chaos.
Sometimes difficult to watch a show about someone who kind of hates themselves, but it's also really, really good. And like, Carmen, the monologue he gives at the end of the season, like how much he's bound up in like all the people around him, and maybe he doesn't deserve.
Is that the one that
Ooh.
Molly Gordon? Yeah, that's the one that Molly Gordon overhears.
Oh
I-
my god, that. I
I
died.
have so many feelings about that entire relationship, most of which are very positive. I really want that for him.
Mhm.
But also, it's just like, I need you to be in a good place mentally before you try and be in this relationship.
And like, oh my god, it's so good. That episode also has another moment with a pregnancy that's, oh god. And like, it's also
Oh,
great
that scene hit hard.
because, he gives this intense monologue at the end, and the setup for that whole thing is, oh man, he got locked in the freezer, what are we going to do? And it's like, that's very silly. But then it comes back around at the end, and it's like, ooh.
We're going to thrive is what we're going to do.
I love
It's
that show
so
much.
good. Such a good season. I don't agree with any of you people out there who do not like Molly Gordon's character. She's precious and she needs to be protected.
I like her. I thought that she didn't need to be around as much as she was, but for the role that she played and for like what it meant to Carmi, like, yeah, cool. I get it.
Anyway, yeah, that's The Bear. Forgot that happened this year. Whew.
It did.
To me, I know you already got a lot on your plate, but this TV app is made for you.
I know.
You wouldn't. I haven't forgot about a show since last year.
Wow. Nice.
Oh my gosh. All right, that takes us to my number one. Everybody, you guys know what my number one is.
We know
Come on, I've been talking about it all
35 times.
year. My number one is Willow.
That was not
Developed by
this
John
year.
Kasdan.
There is no way that was this year. No.
So here's the thing. Willow's last 2 episodes aired at the beginning of this year.
Okay.
And I do not put a show on my list until it has finished its season.
Right, until you finish it.
Right.
And so that's the year that I count it for. So it might have been 2 out of 8 episodes, but still counts. Anyway, show was developed by John Kasdan and it stars Warwick Davis, Ellie Bamber, Ruby Cruz, Aaron Kellyman, Tony Revolori, and Amarchata Patel. And the IMDb summary is, the story began with an aspiring magician from a Nelwyn village and an infant girl destined to unite the realms, who've together helped destroy an evil queen and banish the forces of darkness. Now, in a magical world where brownies, sorcerers, trolls, and other mystical creatures flourish, the adventure continues as an unlikely group of heroes set off on a dangerous quest to places far beyond their home, where they must face their inner demons and come together to save the world. Yep, that's that. That's it. This is a show that I've rewatched more than I've rewatched any show ever.
Yes.
And it's only been out for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were putting in some serious numbers.
I put in hours.
Like, were you by yourself not enough to keep it from getting canceled? And
Right? You would think. Apparently I was not. But even then, so much of this fandom just like adores this show, and all of us have rewatched it so many times, to the point where leading up to the anniversary of the show, we did a Twitter rewatch where every week we would watch a different episode of the show and we would tweet about it. I have entire threads dedicated to each episode and the documentary about the making of the show. I love this show so much. I rewatched it so much to the point where my younger brother thought that it was my favorite show of all time, and it's not.
I mean, I see why you would think that.
I believe you, to me.
It's not, though. My favorite show of all time is Killjoys. Now, Willow could be my all-time favorite show if Disney would give it the last 2 seasons that it requires. But unfortunately, Disney decided to take it off their streaming service. But
do you think,
whatever,
giving Willow more time, even with what it just has, if you give it more time, if you have more time with it,
I think if you finished the story, it would absolutely become my favorite show of all time. It stopped in a place where I'm like, I'm gonna forever be curious as to where this was going, and I have an inkling of where it was going. I have an inkling of the things that we were being promised, because John Kasdan did a fantastic job with using tropes and using archetypes and all sorts of things like that, and following like fairy tale and fantasy lore, but creating something that was modern and really spoke to me and to the entire fandom. To be honest, I've made so many friends in this fandom. It's the only fandom that I really like participating in, because
seems wholesome.
It's an extremely wholesome fandom, because all we do is talk about how much we love this show.
Nice.
Like there's nothing else that we like there's no beef. There are no there's rarely ever beef. We have had a couple of ship wars. The fact that this show is like, the most important message of this show is that love is the most powerful force in the universe. And just the wholesomeness of the show, how thematic it is, how great of a job the story does at putting its themes together and making it all work together as a whole. It's so much fun. The actors do such a phenomenal job. I am in love with this cast, and it's so obvious that everybody who worked on the show loved it. You can feel it in watching the show. The representation on the show, it's so rare to watch a fantasy show where there are brown people, where there are gay people who aren't having to deal with homophobia the entire time. The main ship on the show is literally a lesbian princess knight combination ship, and Cassie has now seen the show. They are peak cinema, okay? Jade and Kit are good. Peak romance.
Also, quick shout out to the show for giving me what felt like a very strong reference to Legends of the Hidden Temple, or just like inspired by that. And also, an episode with one of the most beautiful uses of color I have ever seen.
Oh, Beyond the Shattered Sea?
Yeah.
Is quite possibly my favorite episode of fantasy that I've ever seen in my life. Oh my gosh, I could talk for days about this fucking show, and I have. I have, and I will continue to because I want more of it. This is the first show ever where I've shipped all of the main ships. Usually I only like one or two, and usually they're like background ships. This is the first time I've been like, I ship all of your main ships. I want more of these people. All the 80s references, just everything about this show makes me happy. And I think one of the things that I haven't mentioned much about this show, and the reason why I do latch onto it so heavily, is that the first 2 episodes were released on my mom's birthday after she passed away. So on like one of the worst like grieving days of my life, I got this really wholesome fantasy show that for a couple of hours, I just got to have fun and I got to be happy.
It came at the perfect time.
It came on the perfect day. This was a show that if you go back on our podcast and listen to us react to the trailer, this was a show where I was like, I know nothing about this.
Right.
It looks interesting and I will check it out just to see what it is. And now it's literally like my favorite thing.
For the listeners
it is,
at home, Demi is wearing a Willow shirt.
True.
Yeah.
This is true.
I am, with all the characters on it.
She's usually wearing a Willow shirt lately. Let's be honest.
I own 3 Willow shirts, and they're very hard.
To me.
They're hard to come by because Disney didn't make merch.
Those bastards.
Any Willow fan that you find with merch, most likely it's fan-made merch. That my phone case is also a Willow phone case that I designed myself with my favorite character, because Jade is also, I think, the closest version to a fantasy version of me that I will probably ever see on television or in movies, to be honest. I relate to her so much. But yeah, it's just everything about this show makes me happy. If I feel sad or if I'm upset, it is my instant dopamine show. I just can put it on Disney Plus. It would be so much easier to put it on if you would just put it back on the streaming service, but whatever. But yeah, this show just, it is the equivalent of what Star Wars was for me as a kid, is what this show does for me. And I would like to have more of it. And I will continue to hashtag save Willow on Twitter until Lucasfilm and Disney finally, I don't know,
put
it together.
back on Disney Plus. Like, it's one thing to cancel a show, but to try to erase it from existence for all intents and purposes is evil.
Which you kind of failed because the fandom is still watching it, just not legally.
Yo ho.
Yo ho, yo ho.
But that's what happens when you try to erase something from the internet.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is the fandom doesn't even want a whole bunch of seasons. Like, we literally just want 2 more seasons because we were promised 2 more volumes. And the first season was volume 1. So just give us our last 2 seasons. And yeah, Elora Danan has also become my favorite chosen one alongside Anakin Skywalker, which is a big deal.
Yes, it is.
Because I love a good chosen one. But yeah, my number 1 is Willow. I shouldn't talk more about this show, but I think I will spend the rest of my life talking about this show because it had such a huge impact on me and my thoughts on storytelling and television as of right now. So yeah, Willow. And that concludes our top 10 favorite TV shows. It's been a very long episode. Oh my gosh.
Did it. We did it. Thank you for making it this far. We love you, audience. We always appreciate you. Thank you to Crown Digital, Brandon and Aya for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Demi, thank you for editing and putting us on YouTube, repping for the fans of fantasy and Star Wars.
Which is also fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah, space fantasy. We love it. You got your brands?
It's been my brand since I was a child.
Yeah, you're very consistent. We love the consistency.
Yep.
Gabby, thank you for repping for the fans of the rom-coms, the period pieces, the Ted Lasso with me.
Hey.
Cassie, my horror girly, thank you for repping for the Fall of the House of Usher, the other black girl. Just, you know, everything that gives me evidence.
Girl, I would not say is horror.
I know.
Come on.
That's fair. It's horror adjacent.
Very small evidence.
It's horror adjacent. Yeah, it's like you can kind of count it. But yeah, I'm so happy about that. Audience, what do you think of our list? What are your favorite shows of the year? What shows did you forget that you watched because you watched too many?
So many.
Did you watch 40 shows this year? Let me know. Maybe I have a problem.
Dallas, I'm going to count. I'm going to try and count.
Get on the app, write them down. Let us know in the comments or hit us on Twitter at y'all_different, Instagram and Tumblr at Creative Differences Podcast, Facebook.com/Creative Differences PC, or TikTok at Creative Differences Pod. If you want to talk about Ted Lasso, because I can't talk about it enough and I'll never talk about it enough, find me. I'm at a King Named Simba on Twitter and Instagram. My Instagram Explore page is so much Ted Lasso right now.
It's so good. So many callbacks. If you want to talk to me, Gabby, on the Instagrams about your top 10 favorite shows of the year, you can message me at Stegosaurus.
Tell me what shows from this year that I missed, which is the vast majority of them that I should watch. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sassy Soothsayer.
Yo, just come talk to me about Willow or come talk to me about Ahsoka because I didn't really get to talk about it because strike.
Yeah.
Because I would love to talk about Ahsoka with some people. It was fantastic. But yeah, I've been talking about Willow for a whole year and I will continue to do so. You guys can find me on Twitter at Demi_Joie, Joie spelled Joie. Thanks again for joining us. Tune in tomorrow. We will be talking about our top 10 favorite actors of 2023.
Yep.
Woo.
It's been different. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so I'm going to throw out a hypothetical situation for everyone.
Cool.
You can bring back any show of your choice, but only by fighting the CEO
Willow.
of the network or streaming service that canceled
Willow
it.
in the parking lot right now.
I know
Let's go.
Demi is
We
fighting.
could take him.
For
We could
Willow.
tag team him. Just generally.
What you got, Cassie?
I think it has to be Blindspotting.
Okay, I'm also fighting John Starz to
Yo,
bring back Blindspotting.
okay.
John Starz.
We can tag
I'm
team it.
calling the Willow fandom.
By
Somebody,
the time this comes out,
somebody-
you might have
I'll
seen
fight
Iron
it with
Claw,
the
so you'll know
Yo.
the moves. We can.
Oh, I know those moves.
somebody send him acorns. Like, let's go. Let's just do
Is
this.
there a show that I love that I would want to come back?
That badly?
Gotta be. Well, you think about
Oh.
that. Well,
Whoever is in charge of Netflix, let's go Shadow and Bone. Let's go.
Ooh, I'll join you.
Yeah.
Let's go.
we're looking for
You
you,
and
Ted.
me, Ted.
AKA John Netflix.
John Netflix.
And John Disney.
John Disney.